guys, hello and welcome. We're going to try something a little bit different today. I have gathered some of my good friends, Roy, Super, and Glacial, and we have come together to watch all 28 of the Pixar movies, and we're just going to go through and rank them all in our own personal rankings from bottom to top. For number 28, The Good Dinosaur. I had it at number 28. Glacial had it at number 26. Roy had it at number 28. And Super had it at number 27. I have so many bad things to say about this movie, and very few good. Honestly, all of the good stem from the animation quality, and I didn't even rank the movies based on animation quality. It's a Pixar movie. They're always good at animating. I honestly think the movie and the story is all over the place. Boring villain. Like why? Like Arlo is randomly at places. It just feels like one of those movies that's just like a collection of things happen and they're not cohesive in any way. I hated it. What'd you guys think?
I pretty much agree. The only reason why I didn't rank it lower is there's others that I disliked more. But per se, for me, with The Good Dinosaur, I didn't remember any of it, even after I watched it. So that's why it's that low. There's just nothing good, but it's also, like, I just had stuff that I disliked tiny bit more. But not by much.
Basically same notes. Glacial said it when they said, didn't even remember anything about the movie after watching it. I had to stop and remember anything about the movie, and the answer is, it's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I mean, it's just abysmal. Like, I mean, there's not really much I can say that's not already said, but no, it's just, terrible, and, second worst, in my opinion, out of the entire catalog.
I will say one positive thing about it, just so we don't leave a terrible taste in people's mouth. I will say that the message of the movie is quite nice, though muddled. The fact that you can face your fears as much as you want, but you'll never get rid of the inherent fear that, like, you have, which is, like, that's fine. It's, like, kind of working to live with your fears and get through them rather than be completely cured, because that would be really bad. Number 27, Lightyear. I had it at 25, Glacial had it at 28, Roy had it at 26, and Super had it at 28. So, Super, you were the lowest, so you can start on this one.
I also had it at 28.
Yeah, just the thing that really struck a hating core with this one is just the villain, because the whole premise of, like, the movie was based around this quote-unquote mistake that Buzz had that wasn't really a mistake to begin with. Like, his crew
he wrecks the ship because he wanted to work by himself.
Stranded on a planet, and he tried for, like, the entirety of the movie to, like, fix this mistake, and yet you have everyone just, not worrying about it. They're, like, just going about their life. They're happy just being crashed on this planet. Like, no one sees it as a problem. The only person that sees it as a problem is Buzz, is the protagonist, which alone wouldn't be a problem. But then you flash forward to later in the movie, and you realize that the villain is also the same person as the protagonist. They're both Buzz. So they both have the same problem of trying to fix the mistake that really wasn't a mistake to begin with in the first place. So it's just create this so bizarre, like, concept within the entire movie, and it's just so bad. It's just so ridiculous. It's just insane. It's just,
I will say, though, Socks, best character, and I'm not even a cat person. Socks saves this movie from being 28.
I think the movie would be better if it wasn't a Toy Story movie, technically, because it is set in Toy Story, because, like, it's a character from Toy Story. It removed, and that's what is the reason why I hate it, because there is some backstory of Buzz Lightyear throughout the Toy Story movies, and they just completely rewrote that and just didn't actually have that in Lightyear.
Yeah, I hate when they retcon stuff like that. They've already said that Zurg was Buzz's father. Like, it's a Star Wars parody. Like, that's a whole Star Wars parody. So that, like, that's what it's supposed to be. But yeah, Lightyear was really bad. I have very little positive to say about it, and I don't even really need to keep talking about it. Socks is the only good character. The opening scene, watching Hawthorne die, is very sad and very moving.
Yes.
But other than that, really, the movie goes straight downhill from there. Like, crashes like this ship.
And that's not even going into the politics. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
feel a strong connection with Socks in comparison to you guys, but yeah.
Alright, I will, anything to say, bro?
Yeah, just for the most part, I agree with the Socks. I agree with the Hawthorne death. That was kind of where I got emotionally connected. I was like, oh, maybe this movie has potential. And then it just,
Yeah,
like
really,
Rachel
well,
mentioned,
actually.
it's set in the Toy Story universe. The beginning says this is where Buzz Lightyear was based off of for Andy in the first movie, right? This is not the Buzz Lightyear we know in that movie at all, right? And just they dealt with time travel, which is always a problem when you try and make a story, and there's so many things where communication could have been used to avoid a lot of issues, so that's my main issue with it. My main gripe, I should say.
Honestly, you can make you can make like a Buzz, Lightyear movie that doesn't like.
They
directly
did!
tie,
There's a
like,
whole
that
TV show!
The TV show was fantastic.
It's so
from
much
memory.
better! Just watch the TV show! Skip the
Yeah.
movie and watch the TV show! It's animated as well. It's like 20 years old now. It's great. Go watch it. It's ahead of its time.
Yeah.
It was adorable. Go
I
watch
actually
that
don't think I
instead.
watched that.
Number 26, A Bug's Life. I had it at 23. Glacial had it at 24. Roy had it at 27. And Super had it at 16. I'm gonna have you start again, because you have it at 16. Vastly higher than the rest of us, so what makes you what makes you put Bug's Life in the middle of the pack?
Mainly because, well, I think the thing that really, really nails it for me is Hopper, is, the villain. He is such an amazing,
Though
villain
I will
because
say,
he's just,
I can't believe they got an actual villain to play Hopper, and that's all I'm gonna
Oh,
say
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. The villain, shoots it up, exponentially for me. He is this textbook definition of, an oppressor, and that is just a phenomenal, that's just a phenomenal way to, write a character, and, no other Pixar villain ever, controls, an entire colony or group. Hopper is, a pure, evil villain within this entire story, and it is just amazing the way they wrote him, the texture that he gives him, that one scene where he uses, grains as, as, a way to
very
prove
famous
a point,
scene,
and
yes.
kills, 3 bugs in the process. That was just hilarious.
He has a good
And,
death as well. I never thought Bug's Life could make a tiny robin, bird, whatever the bird is, scary. It sounds like a dinosaur, which means Bug's Life in 1999 was, way ahead of its time and realizing, hey wait, dinosaurs had feathers and are, turned into birds. Yeah, personally, I had the movie only a little bit lower. Just, it's lower for me, but honestly, I'm kind of 50-50 split on the movie. The movie does have a lot of good, but it also does have a lot of bad. I do think that, Flick is a bit of a boring main character, though I do think his inventions are pretty creative. For 1999, obviously Hopper's a fantastic villain. I think, the circus bugs are the best part of the movie. I think they're very funny. I think they're, once they get added into the movie does get better. However, most of the other characters, other than Hopper and the circus bugs, are quite boring to me. I hate liar reveal plots and third act breakups so much. I hate it because they're always the same thing, oh my god, you lied, I can't believe you did this, that's so selfish, we hate you, get out, and then the third act happens and it's oh my god, you saved us.
Forgiven.
All is forgiven.
100%.
We've all grown as people. I hate it.
I like the entomology of it, the fact that, the ants had an object fall on the road, so they couldn't follow the pheromone path, and then they just, they're just lost. But other than that, Hopper's presence, 100% one of the best Pixar villains. That presence of just being a villain to be a villain has been lost in a lot of today's world, and just seeing it again after so long was really nice. Beyond that, though, it doesn't have a lot of things that hit. I agree with Flick being a weak main character that we're kind of following along for the most part. Honestly, my favorite line from the movie just kind of sums it up. Take this rock and pretend it's a seed, but it's a rock. I know it's a rock! And that's my thoughts. That's how I feel about this movie. They're like, it's a good movie, and I'm like, it's not!
It's a movie.
To me, when I went through it, it was nostalgia at its finest. I didn't really enjoy it. Like, there was some good points, but I just never was a big fan of the movie growing up. I think it also creeped me out a bit, the animation as a little kid, and it kind of left its mark.
Definitely Pixar is a weaker animation era when they were, 30 years old,
just
getting close. Number 25, Turning Red. I had this at 17, Glacial had this at 23, Roy had this at 24, and Super had this at 25. So, Turning Red I put a little bit higher on the list than probably is expected. However, this is a kind of a movie that resonates with me a little bit more than some of the other ones, just because I am definitely the firstborn child of a family with a bit of a helicopter parent. Plural. Now, not to the extent of the movie, which is honestly something I didn't like about the movie. I swear to God I had helicopter parents, and my mom never brought my pads to school, and shouted at the classroom, "Renee, you forgot your pads!" Like, she had some self-control and confidence. That, took me out of the movie a little bit. But, however, just, the relationship between, Ming and Mei being something like, they love each other clearly, and you can see it in the opening, but there's just a rising tension between two of them as Mei begins to go through, the early stages of puberty, and there starts to become fractures in the perfect life. It's, right around that time when, hey, wait a second, my parents don't know everything. So I do really like that aspect of it, how Mei kind of learns to break away from her mother's shadow that, honestly, I don't think, you could really tell Ming didn't even really know she was casting in that way. Though, it does have a third act breakup in it, which really bugs me and lowers the lot for me. But, I do really like the family dynamic in this film, so I gave it a little bit of a higher score. But what do you guys think?
The reason why I have it on the lower end is sort of the opposite of that, but because I had a totally different family growing up.
Well, sure.
But I think it's also, in a way, a pretty generic coming of age, for lack of better words. I think it's funny that I'm pretty sure it's Jordan Fisher playing one of the part of the little boy band, the High Note.
Everything about Four Town was fantastic as a One Direction fan when I was 15. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Aces. Nailed exactly what it means to be a teenage girl liking boy bands. 100%.
And then, but I'm also a Broadway person, and Jordan Fisher's a Broadway guy. So that was nice to see. He's also a Disney guy, but
I am curious to think what Roy and Super had to say. Do you have any connection to this movie at all, since you're not teenage girls going through puberty?
My only connection was that helicopter parenting. And also that feeling the need to continue the tradition. I understand that to an extent. I appreciated the attempts at the familiar connections and the way that they're trying to fix things, they're trying to make things better and go through the stuff, and the family comes back and saves them at the end and all these things, but it just was a mostly miss for me. I appreciate the story for what it was, but not for me.
Yeah, I just Turning Red is such a weird one because I feel like there's just a lot of things about it that are just sloppy and sort of the biggest pet peeve of mine is the mother just nagging and being so controlling. Sure, that might have been relatable to some people, I mean not me, but I can see how that is to some people who do have controlling parents. But during the entire movie, it's just not fun to watch. It's just not entertaining or not it just makes me feel so gross and icky and stuff, and it's just not something that's enjoyable in any sort of capacity. Those types of things, as well as with the overall story and just sloppiness in general, it just wasn't all that great, and it's just not good in my
Before we end off, I will say that it's interesting to see. I definitely had a different opinion on the third act. It's definitely predictable up until everybody goes back to the Red Panda world. Because I will say, watching the mother grow up and never really get out of the shadow of her own mother, like, you just kind of watch that, and May kind of realizing if she kind of goes back to things the way that they were before she kind of started going through everything, that's kind of what would happen to her, where you have like this air of resentment towards her because you never really got to, not really grow up, but you never really got to mature in the way that you probably could have if you were kind of left to your own devices. And again, that resonates hard with me because, like, I have a fantastic relationship with my mom. She's awesome. We definitely did have a rough period when I was in that age group where it's like, you should do what I want, because you should do what I'm telling you because of what you do. It's like, okay, but I kind of want to try out life for myself. But other than the third act, which I think really saves this movie in particular, it was like, you know, somewhat of a tiny connection, but I thought it was okay. Number 24 was Cars 2. I put it at 15. Glacial put it
Alright, well, you got some explaining to do.
Glacial put it at 25. Roy put it at 25, and Super put it at 24. So I'll start because my number is a lot higher than the rest of you guys. So here's what I like about the movie, because I like a lot more about the movie than I didn't like about the movie. Because the Cars movies, when you go, I don't go into them expecting this emotional, heartfelt journey where I, like, learn something about myself. I go because it's like movie popcorn. It's just bad for you. But it's, like, the best kind of bad for you. Like, it is absolutely a love letter to spy movies. And I think, like, the cheesy spy movies are fantastic, and they nail that. Like, it keeps all of the best parts of the Cars movies and just ups them. It's not an immediate rehash. Racing is totally shoved to the back, which I totally don't mind, because I hated the racing in the first one. It was the most boring, predictable part of all of the other movies. I like how, even though they have their fighting a little bit, Lightning and Mater never have, like, a straight-up third-act breakup or liar revealed. Mater is very honest that he's not a spy, and nobody's listening to him, which I think is funny, because they think he's an idiot. Also, this movie has, like, numerous deaths in it, which is really funny to me. Also, and the last thing, the plot of the villain, Miles Axelrod, is not run-of-the-mill. It's absolutely crazy, like something out of a James Bond movie. Like, it's fantastic. It's like, let's destroy capitalism. That's just boiled down to, like, the bare bones. That's basically what his plan is. Let's just destroy capitalism. But that's my thoughts. I actually enjoyed this movie. I think it's kind of funny.
I enjoyed the movie. I never didn't enjoy it. I just doesn't feel like it fits in with the Cars universe.
It doesn't fit in with any other Pixar movie, but I think it fits right in the Cars universe. It's wild, batshit, and crazy with rude jokes and, like, completely off-the-wall, batshit sanity world building. Like, that's all the Cars movies is. There's nothing to it. There's no substance.
That's why I put it so low, because it just... Comparing it to, like, Cars 1, it's just such a dramatic change. And it just... Like, I understand focusing on Mater as opposed to, like, the Queen. And I don't mind the fact that it's more Mater, because Mater's great. But, like, what? It was so confusing as a kid, like, going from Cars 1 to that.
I mean, as a kid, I didn't really, like, mind it, but now, like, rewatching it, it's just not good. Like, when you actually, like, analyze, like, what is happening in this plot, you just begin to realize that a lot of things are just so, like, I don't even know, like, the proper word to say it. It's just so
shit insane. That's why it works. That's why it's like I go in expecting a crazy ass movie, and you know what I get? A crazy ass movie. What do you think, Roy?
So, I'll just read a little bit of what I sent to Renee when I was watching it, again, because it's been well over a decade since I watched it last. 5 minutes in and 2 car deaths at least. Plus all those that he explodes on the circular round. Literally 6 minutes in. And Doc, 10 minutes in. So many dead, it's a massacre.
G-rated movie, by the way.
Fantastic. Modern day G movies. We love it.
Crazy stuff, but it just didn't have it. Like you said, it has no emotional thing going on. It's funny. It's for kids. I felt like it was a cash grab.
Oh, totally.
Is it for kids? Really?
I don't know.
If you actually
It's promoted towards kids, but it was definitely had enough jokes for the adults, especially with all the suggested deaths, the suggested
Suggested deaths. You watched that car die. You watched that car explode. You watched the American car get tortured and explode.
You also watched the one get crushed.
Yep.
And then all you see is a cube, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
This isn't okay when it's.
Then, you know.
It's not okay that it's Cars, but if it wasn't Cars, this would be a bloodbath.
Number 23 was Toy Story 4. I put it at number 27. Glacial put it at number 27. Roy put it at 23. And Super put it at 11. I'm gonna have Glacial start because she hasn't started yet.
So, it could have also been my experience watching the movie for the first time. That didn't help. Because I watched it in a different country and I had subtitles in a different language. But I also really don't like it because it's sort of the same thing with Lightyear, how it changes everything about the characters that we grew up on, that we saw in 1 through 3. And it just, because it was always just, you want a kid to be with you want to be with a kid.
Yeah, I'm curious to think, so Super, why did you put it so high? Because I have some very strong negative opinions on this movie, but I want to hear positive opinions first before I rip this movie to shreds.
So, the message of the entire the message of the entire toy universe through one through 3 was that Woody believed for the longest time ever that a child is only a toy is only worth how much value a child is to them. Woody is really strict on being there for Andy and keeping everyone together so he can be happy. That was the entire point of that. Toy Story 4 completely negates any part of that, and it basically tells a completely different story in a good way by saying that toys are not just a child's plaything. They are their own individual person. He recognized that with Bo Peep and begins to understand that Bonnie wasn't really interested in Woody, so he made the difficult decision to stick with Bo Peep because he recognizes that his mission towards making children happy is complete, and that's okay because he can go on to do other amazing things. He can be with Bo, he can, explore the world, and, he can just be his own, individual person rather than making a child happy, making basically being what he was made for.
So, the only thing I will say about the other Toy Story movies in the Toy Story 4 ranking is that it'll become very evident why I hate this movie so much. This is only not last place because The Good Dinosaur is boring and all over the place. That is the only reason that this movie is not in last place for me. I have very few good things to say about this movie. The opening is interesting. I like seeing them rescue RC, and if the movie, stopped with the thought that Woody almost gave up his entire life with Andy, which would have happened sometime between this ending of the first movie in the new house and the second movie, or the third, because they're not very clear on when it would be, that would have been perfectly good as a message. However, and I don't say this lightly, I feel like Woody is guided by his love of Bo Peep. I feel like that's the only reason he made this decision in the end. I don't like the 180 change. He is so hell-bent on getting back to Bonnie up until the very end, and I hate that. I also hate how all of the toys are in this movie, and other than maybe Buzz a little bit, do nothing.
So, I have actually a counter offer for why Woody changes. So, Woody isn't changing because of Bo Peep. Woody is changing because that's who he's always been, and he's realizing that's who he's always been. He always thought it was about the kid, but for Woody, it hasn't been. At least from the first movie, once Buzz comes and goes, we see with Wheezy, we see with Buzz, we see with the RC car when it, falls off. We see Woody going and saving toys, and getting these toys to better homes, like making sure that they're played with. We see this aspect of Woody throughout the series, and kind of he has this moment where he realizes it, and I think that's when he gives the voice box up, because he realizes it's not about me getting to my kid, it's about making sure that they get to their kid, right? That they have a chance. And I think that's kind of like there's good in this movie. I think the thing is, though, there's just so much more with every other movie on this list. And again, this movie is like, what, 20 plus years after the first one?
I joked in the pre-recording that I would rank the movies based on how much they made me cry, and this one got towards the bottom because it makes me angry cry. This one doesn't. I don't actually angry cry, but this movie basically makes me rage. I hate how much it ruins everything. It ruins it for me. It didn't tarnish the first three for me, thank God, because I can forget this one exists. But goddamn, it hurt the franchise for me, and I hate that they're gonna keep making them. Number 22 was Cars 3. I had it at 24. Glacial had it at 22. Roy had it at 21, and Super had it at 19. So the same reason I don't really like Lightyear. I don't really like Cars. I don't know why. I don't know what went through this
specifically, or Cars 3 specifically?
Well, Cars 3 specifically. I don't like Cars 3 specifically because I don't know why they go through this whole thing, this whole era of let's have these characters that you grew up with just retire and leave. I understand they want to be mature for the people who have grown up with these movies, but while that may kind of not really work in the Toy Story movie, but work for some people like Super, for Cars, we're talking about a movie where the world doesn't make sense. Why on earth would Lightning ever need to retire? Why is this a thing? If cars can be made stronger than the previous models, I guess show age, but even there's cars that exist now from the 60s and 70s that go faster than my 2021 car. The whole premise of how cars work, the older the car, the better it is. I don't get it. I also hate when they do the stupid thing of this is the hero's last race and he gives it up for his protege. I hated it when they did it in Kung Fu Panda 4. I hated it when they did it here. Let Lightning get his victory lap, for the love of God. Also, your villain Jackson Storm isn't in the movie. You build this guy up to be this kind of pompous villain, and then he's not in the movie at all.
He has what, 5 minutes of screen time?
Maybe. Most of his screen time is in Lightning's head is a fear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly dislike it, I don't particularly like it, it's just there.
I feel like it's at the bottom of okay, honestly.
Yeah.
It's definitely at the bottom. It's at the bottom. It's either at the bottom of kind of bad or top of.
I probably could. I have, as I said, I have it right next to Turning Red. I have it basically so it's the way I listed it. I also could. They're about the same to me. I could flip it around and wouldn't mind it.
I think the movie does have some good points. I think
Lightning's crash in the beginning is cool. That's it.
That's a really good example of just trying to keep up with the new stuff in today. Kind of having to go through these how far can you go until you just need help, or you just have to say, okay, I can't keep up with this sport anymore, right? I see a lot of what they're trying to do with passing the torch. He's retired. He's kind of taking up what Doc used to do. The Moonshiners was interesting take again, but I feel a lot of that was coming from, okay, Cars 1 was pretty good. It was very successful. Cars 2, okay, what happened here? And then Cars 3, they're like, okay, we need to tone it back, get back to the race, and they're okay, how can we do this? Lightning is unable to race anymore. He can't keep up with the new kids.
Cars 2, and it's one fan, me.
Yeah, that's it for the most part. It's just, I appreciate the message of like sometimes it is your time to pass the torch, and
It
you
would
have
work
to
better
think
if it
that.
wasn't cars. Like if it was one of these
Yes.
other, it's just because they're cars.
If it was like a physical athlete, yes.
Yeah,
it
that would
a
make so much
better
more
story.
sense. Because like even as you get older, your body ages, but they're cars. Like change your parts out if you're that bad. Now if you're
I
Every
also,
car.
if
Yeah,
I,
the
like
world
now that I'm
building
truly,
of cars is weird.
I also don't want to go fully into that because that could get really, really weird.
There's a whole 5-minute video on the weirdest of the cars world.
Yeah.
Go watch that instead.
I also feel like now that I'm truly thinking about it, or if I don't, that remember how we literally mentioned about how like there's some crass humor. I don't feel it as much in this one.
Yes! It's absent from this movie! Where is it? That's like one of the funniest parts is like, where's the stuff for adults? Is it just because he's retiring? Like, oh, old people will appreciate this because he's retiring like they are. Like, no!
I'm gonna throw one big complaint I have about this movie. In Cars 1, we see Lightning like go through dealing with his narcissism and his like issues. And then I feel like a lot of that comes right back in this movie because they needed a plot device for Lightning to not just be like, yeah, I do need help.
I think
And instead
one
he's like, I
change
can
in
do
this
everything.
movie that could have made it better was that they skip a whole year in between Lightning getting injured and just being fine again. What if
Mhm.
something more permanent happened? Maybe not like, deathly, but something prevented him from hitting the 300 rather than just, you can't do it. I hate that message of, oh, you just can't do it. That's it. You're too this and you can't do it. That's a terrible message. Don't get me wrong. I am not about to go off and be a basketball star at 5'1". I probably can't do it. But, however, if I really wanted to, there's definitely something I can do in the world of basketball. Like, I just hate how the message is, oh, you just can't do it, up until he's like, I'll just be the pit crew chief. It's like, that seems, why do they treat that like such a step down when that's such an important position? Like, hello? Your
Yeah.
team is worth nothing. They're the step down. What? That's a terrible message. It's awful. It's all over the place. Yeah, not a big fan. But it seems like we kind of agreed on that one. It's kind of all on the board.
Yeah.
Kind of bad to meh. So, number 21 was Elemental. I put it at 26. Glacial put it at 19. Roy put it at 10. And Super put it at 23. Roy, I'm gonna need some words as to why this movie is 10. Go ahead.
Alright. I feel the water guy so hard. I relate so hard on so many emotional levels. But also just the movie made me laugh. It legitimately made me cry. I loved the character designs. I loved the world that was built. I thought it was very interesting, both in the actual like society that it's copying from the real world, along with the way that it's dealing with cultural work, kind of, with the whole like father son, then father daughter, and having to inherit that position and trying to find yourself. All these pieces kind of like came together and just really touched me. Way more than I was expecting, mind you. Like, this was my first watch of Elemental, and I was like, holy crap, this is good!
Okay.
I don't know. It has pieces where I'm like, there's stuff where it can do better, but
Oh, they have pieces.
A story
Segregation
where,
is
like, the race, like, the only thing dividing the different races is an element, when, like, in people, it's not
Yeah.
necessarily an inherent,
That
like,
concept-
one race isn't inherently, like, in the real world, one race isn't inherently more dangerous than the other. But in Elemental, it truly, genuinely is. Like, there's, like, actual reason to not want fire in a garden. Like,
Yeah.
not,
And also that
not,
concept, sorry to interrupt, that concept in general of just telling like immigration stories through non-human people just doesn't work because race is a subject that only applies to us humans. Like in no way are you going to see like a group of dogs, like one dog be discriminated against another group of dogs, like in the real world because of the color of the fur. Like that doesn't work. That's not how animals work.
Wait, so what was your thoughts on Elemental? I almost said Zootopia. What are your thoughts on Elemental?
I thought it was an okay movie, bland a bit, and just didn't rank that high, and it was also a majority of the other remaining movies in this list are better.
So, I will say, Roy, you definitely made me kind of enjoy Wade as a character more, and just how much you loved him than I thought. I kind of thought he didn't change in the movie. Like, it's mostly Ember's story, and for a love story, it's supposed to kind of be on both people, and I feel like Wade does not really change as much as Ember. However, I think this movie would be so much better if it focused on Bernie and Ember. Like, screw the love story, because I find love stories in movies to be very boring, because it either ends up one way, they get together and get married, because it's never just they start a relationship. It's either they get together, like, forever and ever and ever, because true love, whatever, or they break up. Like, it's one of two things. There's, like, I don't know, there's really never any stakes in a love story for me, especially an action love story like this. But I think it should have been about Ember and Bernie, because their dynamic is so strong. Like, Bernie basically, like, immigrated to Element City to give Ember a better shot at life than he ever had, which is so warm and touching. Warm fire people, haha, wasn't intended. And I think that's such a better part of the movie, and it's such a small part of the movie. I enjoyed those parts of the movie so much more than any of the Wade and Ember stuff. I'm not gonna lie, they don't have any chemistry. But
yeah,
I just wish it was like a movie about Ember kind of coming to terms with her decision of, should I go to basically to the equivalent of school to go do something, or yes, it's like, should I go? Should I do like, should I stick with tradition and keep the shop running, like what I think my dad wants, or should I go to school and do what I'm passionate about or what I have a talent for, like what he actually wants and what she has to learn that he actually wants. I just wish the movie was more about that than like a race relationship, because I'm not gonna lie,
I feel like that
really
would
muddles it for me.
I feel like that would have been a really good plot line. I feel like just Ember trying to settle on, like, you know, should I run the shop or should I like do what I'm actually passionate about?
But also in the back.
Yeah, but also it's just but then you just have like the cliches. Obviously the love cliche is just, you know, out there. But you also have ones where like it's like, oh no, you know, the fire girl lied to her dad about not wanting to do the shop.
No,
and now
lie reveal, third act breakup.
Yeah, like that just completely ruins the plot line for me, and it's just so insane. It's just so insane. Like those kinds of like little moments just really just ruin the entire experience.
Also, can we talk about how awful like the grass and earth elementals are totally shafted in this movie? Like, you've got Claude, like the small child that was on all of the promotion that ruined the movie shot at any chance, like early on, shot it in the foot by just making the comedy bits the only part of your trailers. Then you have the random worker, like the random worker that works with Wade, who Ember just burns to a crisp. And that's it for the grass. And then it's like some comedy ones on the side. And then for the wind, you have the stadium of a bunch of nobodies and Wade's boss. And that's it. But then you have like Wade's entire family, Ember's entire family, this whole town of fire people, those two guys that are supposed to like reminiscent against the two Muppets that always talk during the show. Like, they're there too. Like, what? Like, there's so much more thought put into the fire and water aspect than grass and wind. I don't know why they're there.
I remember when the trailer first came out, they're like, everybody like on TikTok was just like, oh, it's Fireboy and Water Girl, but switched?
Yeah. Like that very old animation. But
and little map game.
I will say though, Roy, you changed my opinion on Wade. I didn't realize. I that's so cool that you love him so much, or that you like resonated with him so much. Like he was, as far as like, I do think that the characters themselves are all well developed. I will say something like one of the positive things I have to say is every character I think is well developed. Like everyone has
Except
their
for Claude.
Except for Claude. But I mean like the main. Okay, I'm talking about the main players, like the ones
Yes,
the
the
stories
main cast.
Like I think like even like most of the side characters are pretty well developed. I do appreciate that even like the mom isn't just shoved in a corner. Like she does have something to do. Like they have to turn her around, and once they turn her around to their love, she like completely helps them out. Like I get it now. I understand. Like I do like that aspect of it. But
the mom was also a badass, and
yeah, like I do like that I will say the positive is the characters are well developed. Like they nailed it.
Characters that actually show up.
Yeah, the characters that actually show up in the movie and like are like have lines and have like an actual story to them, like they actually are well developed. I do like them.
I think the thing that gave me the most positive for this, and that's kind of why it's like why I like it a lot, is because I went in thinking, oh, just another boring Romeo and Juliet.
And then it's not.
Which,
yeah, it's definitely not that.
It's not. And so that's what like made it such a high rank for me, because I was expecting something entirely different.
Alright, so number 20 was Brave. I had it at 18. Glacial had it at 16. Roy had it at 15. And Super had it at 26. Super?
I mean, I don't know. It's just not good, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, Merida is probably the worst Pixar protagonist
I do
I've
agree
ever
there.
seen.
She only shoots.
Like,
She's an archer, and she shoots 3 arrows in the movie. You can count them. She uses her
Yeah,
bow
that's the
3
one-
times. She uses her bow 3 times in the movie. Like in the opening scene when she's trapped in Mordu's lair, and right at the end. That's it.
Damn, I didn't even realize.
That's it.
The best thing about Brave, like the best scene out of anything, was when Merida shot the arrow within the arrow. Like that was a really cool scene. Like that was the best moment out of the entire movie. Everything else was just
Okay,
dull.
so I
Like,
guess
the
4
bear
times. Okay,
movement
she used the arrow
was
4
just-
times.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like the bear scene was just dull. I mean, the 3 siblings were just
Useless.
fine, but also
Why are they
They were there for
obnoxious.
comedy and comedy.
Yeah, that's
I mean, yeah, it's
the
just
gargoyles.
like it's just all over the place, and it's just so bad. Like it's not good. It's not good. It's probably just the worst. It's probably
Okay.
the worst like Disney princess movie. Not even Disney
Now,
princess.
Roy, you put it higher than anybody else. So, what did you like about the movie?
I voted a lot of these based on emotional attachment, or not attachment, emotional connection with
Okay, yeah, me
characters
too.
or the situation. So again, helicopter parent. Oh my god, my mom, so similar. Where it's like every little thing I did, she was on top of me about. Right? She was always trying to do stuff, and it wasn't until I got into college, and it's that kind of mindset of like, I think for a lot of people when they're young, they go, I love you, mom. I love you, mom. You get to a teenage year, you're like, mom, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to do these things. You know, I want to be my own person. And then you get to college, or you get separated from your parents, and you go, oh, there's all these things that they did behind the scenes I wasn't aware of that like really made my life different.
So,
Yeah.
personally, there's some movies there's a lot of stuff I do like about the movie, and then there's also a lot of stuff I don't like. This was another middle of the pack for me. I think Mordu is a pretty boring villain. Like, it's just Merida, but he didn't complete the spell in time. Like, okay.
And then went crazy.
Yeah. This movie could have been so much more, and it just wasn't. Like, I would have just so rathered an Irish folktale, like, with a modern twist. That would have been so much cooler.
Yeah,
But,
I agree with that one. But also, who wouldn't go insane after being stuck as a bear for that long?
yeah, for like 1,000 years or whatever it was, like, so long
Yeah.
that your kingdom's name is forgotten, like, yeah, okay. I do
It's such a
appreciate...
weird story. Like it's just
Yeah, the
so
story's a bit all over the
insane.
place too.
Yeah.
But I do like I do agree the relationships in the movie are very strong. Like I do think Eleanor and Merida do have a good relationship. Obviously, a very overbearing relationship. This is coming from the girl who was very tomboy growing up, with a mother who was very girly girl and wanted a girly girl but got a tomboy. So I do appreciate it from that aspect of like, you don't understand this, like, I don't like the things you like. Like, I do appreciate the movie's like willingness and openness to discuss that. But the dad's pretty useless, the other clan leaders are pretty useless, the sons are pretty useless, the villain is boring, like a lot of the characters are boring in this movie. Merida isn't all that interesting. She's just tomboy. Like, that's her only characteristic, is that she's just not your average princess. But all of the Pixar princesses, all of the Disney Pixar princesses are just not your average princess. But anything to say on it, Glacial?
I think the triplets were funny, but they did their job well with comedic relief.
They were just anything.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed them. You seem to be so what did you like about them? Just that did they make you laugh, I guess?
Yeah. I liked when they cut the mustache off, half of the mustache off that guard.
I thought the scene where they jumped into the maid's boobs was funny.
That too.
No, that was.
I didn't want to say that.
That was outrageous.
I didn't expect it, and
I
I did expect it. It made me double take, and I'm like, oh my god, they put that in the movie.
I think it's a solid. I think it's a solid. I think I literally put it practically in the middle. Yeah, it did. And I'm glad they didn't make her. But I'm glad she was a Merida was a tomboy. But Mulan did it better.
Number 19, Monsters University. I put it at 21. Glacial put it at 13. Roy put it at 20. Super put it at 18. So Glacial, you like this movie a lot.
Okay. I wouldn't say a lot. Is there's still a bunch of stuff that I like more. I think it's a decent. I don't like it as much as the original movie. That one's higher. But I think Monsters University is honestly a surprisingly good backstory. Because if you look at other movies where they tried to write a backstory, I mean Lightyear, and it didn't work, this actually works.
I think it works better, but I think the movie has a lot of tiny things that are good about it, but then a lot of tiny things that are not good about it. It's a very generic college story. It just reminds me of Animal House, but not the good parts of Animal House. It's just oh no, I'm just so glad. I swear to God, I was just waiting for the dean to come out and say, I'm shutting down the Greek program if you don't win the scare thing, like every 80s movie ever. It just felt like the episode that South Park makes fun of in the Aspen episode. It just felt like that to me. They're not making fun of the tropes like the South Park episode. They're just actually leaning in hard into the tropes. You have the cheating, the third act breakup, the liar revealed. You got all that crap that I hate too.
I feel like the message of the movie was really good. The fact that Mike began to recognize that something that he worked so hard on and he put so much time and passion in about, and then just ended up realizing that he just couldn't do it, or wasn't cut enough. That really.
That's interesting, because I hated the message. The same reason I hated the Cars message. I hated it.
No, I think it's relatable. I
wish they'd told him. I wish they told it earlier on, and not necessarily a negative connotation. Because it felt like such a negative connotation. You're not scary. You can never do this. There is nothing that you can change about yourself that'll make you scary enough. And I hate that, because fear is such a fluid thing. I would probably be, someone's probably scared of, there's definitely a fear of, a one-eyed Cyclops. Cyclops is, people absolutely have a fear of a Cyclops. There has to be a fear that's named after that. Just saving that as something with a million eyes, or something with a million teeth, or, sharp nails or something. I don't with all that they even show in the movie with such a variety of scares. Why is Mike not scared?
Yeah, I mean, it's not all that great the way they executed it, but I still think the message is really relatable and really holds water.
I think the message would have been even I think if it wasn't just a physical thing. I think if it was I think back to the basketball thing. If it's something that he genuinely if it was jump the highest, or be the tallest monster or something. Yeah, he physically cannot. I get that. You have to learn to live with that. You can't do everything in life. But I don't know. I hate when the whole movie is you can't. Well, you kind of can.
It's more.
No, but but then it transition into something much more meaningful, because Mike learns that there's other purposes that he can do that relates to scaring people, and that's how he found his way through Monsters Inc. and what
Sure.
he, really wanted. And I think that is meaningful in some
I just
regard.
wish that was explained. Just wish that was beginning to touch upon earlier in the movie, and not in the third act when they're just proving their theory by Mike being scary because he's using everything he learned from all of his book study to scare adults with Sully. Uh-oh, we lost Glacial. And so anyway, thoughts on... So, technical difficulties aside, anybody else have anything else to say about Monsters University before we move on?
The Abominable Snowman cameo sucked. Boo.
Yeah,
Absolute
I kind
terrible.
of wish... There's some things that don't need to be explained in the movie. One of those is why the Abominable Snowman was in exile. Number 18, Finding Dory. I had it at 13, Glacial had it at 18, Roy had it at 19, and Super had it at 17. So I guess I'll start. So, I actually don't have a whole lot to say about this movie. There really just wasn't a lot I didn't like. I thought the movie was still funny like in the original. I'm glad that it's different from the first, but it does keep the same story beats as the first. Like, it's not like Dory's been captured, really. I mean, she's kind of captured, but not really. And they need to save her. She just kind of gets herself stuck, and she has to get out on her own. So it's like more from, like, I felt like in the Finding Nemo, Nemo's perspective is not viewed nearly as much as Marlin's journey. Like, both have good story beats, but in this one I thought Dory got more story time. I do wish Marlin and Nemo were in the movie more than they are. They're kind of cast aside a little bit. I thought the cameos were good. Like, I thought they were perfect. Short, sweet, and to the point. Like, they didn't overbear, that they didn't bloat the movie. It's very clear that they're meant to be cameos, so I didn't, like, miss them when they didn't show up later. Like, they were perfectly there. I thought the new characters introduced were perfectly fine. Hank was definitely a standout for me. I liked the parents a lot more than I thought they would. How just accepting they were of their child with this disability. Like, they just love her and just basically revolve their whole lives around just making sure that, like, she's safe and happy in life and it's, like, kind of okay in life. But I don't know. What did you guys think?
I thought it was okay. And for me, I think a lot of the movies, like, you're starting to get to movies that I think are good, starting to reach the halfway.
Yeah, not a lot to say, it's just good. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't think it was as necessary to
Oh,
make a
sure.
sequel.
No. Definitely not necessary. But fine.
Like, yeah.
I will
Yeah,
say,
I
though, the
agree.
ending is a little boring for me. I like the suspension of disbelief on Fish stealing a truck and driving it around. You lose me there. Like, when a movie's, like, semi-grounded in
Renee.
reality... When a movie's, like, semi-grounded... Like, if the movie was, like, Cars, I'd get it, because the movie's insane, so I can expect the unexpected. But in a movie that's, like, semi-grounded in reality, that actually has, like, true, like, marine biology facts in it, and is, like, made by somebody who likes marine biology, and you have the octopus steal a truck and drive it around while the actual drivers of the truck are trying to chase it, and then they crash into the ocean to the one song. Like, no, you lose me there.
What do you mean?
Renee
You
had
never
a nickel
experienced that
for
in real
every-
life?
As somebody who owns saltwater fish, no. They didn't attempt to escape in that way.
You never had an octopus steal a truck before?
I never owned an
Oh, come
octopus.
on.
I never owned an octopus, but no. They don't tend to try to steal something, right?
If Renee had a nickel for every time she got upset at a creature or group of things stealing a truck in a Pixar movie, she'd have 2 nickels. She's weird that it's not a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice.
And all within the same decade too. Why? Pixar, pick some new final acts. I'm bored of the
Yeah.
stealing of the large vehicles. Let's pick something else.
It was okay. It had some good moments, but it was kind of weak as far as the sequel went. Didn't super
Yeah.
feel necessary, but it didn't like hurt,
It
right?
didn't hurt. It was just meh. It was fine. I only ranked it a little higher because I didn't really have anything bad to say about it. It's just perfectly meh. Number 17, Incredibles 2. I had it at 14, Glacial had it at 14, Roy had it at 17, and Super had it at 21. So you can start.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 was just, I don't know, was just painfully average. And, like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, below average. Like, it's just so weird, like, why, like, with Bob, like, trying to, like, I don't know, like try to handle like the kids while Helen just, tries to go on her mission and stuff like that, and she's like the only thing actually doing anything in the film, minus Violet. But I feel like Dash just had no role.
Yeah, the Dash was a little sided in this movie, which I don't like. The movie's so family centered. I kind of wish he was in the movie more.
And then the villain was just dull and bad, and it was also kind of predictable because it could really only be 2 people, and then it just lost me.
I'll say the biggest negative I have of the movie is the villain itself, especially considering later choices I have for movies. I just wish that the screenslaver stayed the screenslaver and not Evelyn Dever. Like, I almost wish it was just some no-name, faceless, just some faceless entity. Like, they've done that. Like, they've done that in movies before. Heck, like look at the Never-Ending Story, where the villain is literally the nothing. Like, it's like the empty. Like, that's it. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a person. It's the absence of something. Like, that's the villain. Like, it would have been
You're also in a world of superpowers.
You're also in a world of superpowers, and both movies have villains that are powerless. Boring. Like, why? Like, some kind of power. Come on. We already.
Speaking of superheroes, the other supers were not all that fascinating to me. Like,
yeah.
And, like,
I kind of wish the.
Not good.
Like, I do like the scene of Lucius versus the other supers. That was a cool action-packed scene. Like, just well done. Like, fight choreography, well done. It's also nice that they gave Frozone more time in this movie than in the previous movie, because he is a cool character. I like Frozone a lot. I think he's funny. I think he's, like, interesting. Like, so, I'm glad he got more screen time. But...
I wish Violet, when she was, like, fighting... What's the girl's name? That has, like... like creates portals. And,
I don't know, Portal Girl. I didn't. A lot of the characters
remember the
people in this movie is Portal. She's Portal Girl.
Yeah. So I wish those two.
I call her Gladys when I watch the movie.
Gladys. I wish those two team up against everyone and helped like Violet and helped the family take the goggles off and save
I think
all
this
the
movie
other
had a
supers
lot
and
of
stuff
stuff
like that. I
that,
feel like that would have been more interesting.
I think the movie had a lot of individual scenes that were good and a lot of individual scenes that were bad. Like, a lot of the action scenes in this movie are really good. Like, the train chase scene is really good. The trying to save the mayor with the helicopter is really good. The final, the Frozone trying to protect the kids from the goggles, when they break into the house, that's also very cool. I actually think the ending is, the ending fight where they're all, on the boat. I do think that scene is a lot of fun and exciting, but, a lot of the fight scenes are good, but then a lot of the emotional scenes in this movie are very boring to me. Yes. I feel like Bob has reverted back to, kind of self-absorbed, self-centered. Why am I not out of the field? It's they told you why. You're a giant raging Hulk. You're gonna destroy everything.
It's great when there's a monster to punch. Otherwise, it's not great to have around. Dash had to be sidelined because you put a speedster in any movie, and it's really hard to write around a speedster.
It's really especially hard to write any. Why do you think the Flash is so difficult to write? It's you have, the Flash with, this awful, sad backstory, so it's you can't give that to Dash, because then it's a knockoff, so it's what do you do?
But, yeah.
Also, he's a child, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Edna is the best babysitter.
Oh, yes. Edna's just the best, period.
Edna's just the best, and I like that the director voices her. I think that's fun.
I think the biggest problem with this movie is it was hyped up for so long that we were all expecting this.
I'm not making this movie unless I have a script I'm proud of, and it's
And then now they're making a third one now. I'm scared.
I do appreciate the math is math.
Yes,
personally.
Exactly. There's individual scenes I like in this movie, and I do like about 70% of the individual scenes, which is why this movie I was 7 out of 10. A lot of the individual scenes in this movie are really good and really well done, and I like it. Just, altogether, meh.
Yes, agreed.
So, number 16, Cars. I had it at 19, Glacial had it at 6, Roy had it at 18, and Super had it at 20. Glacial?
it was also very. It's also one of the reasons why it's ranked so high is purely because it is one. I think that and The Incredibles are like literally the first two movies I think I watched as a kid ever, and so just Cars, and even like looking back on it, there's like so much that went over my head that I appreciate more now, like all the jokes.
Yeah, the high beams joke, never noticed that as a kid. Now that's one of my favorite Pixar movies and moments of all time. I'm like, oh my god, they put this joke in a kid's movie. Fantastic.
And it just... I just really enjoyed the movie.
That's fair. I don't have a, this is another one of those movies where it's like, I'm 6 out of 10 on. Like, it's just meh. Like, good soundtrack. I'm glad there's not a liar reveal third act breakup. Like, the cars aren't mad at him when he goes to the racetrack and leaves Radiator Springs. I was so preparing for, like, how could he leave? He's so happy here. It's like, no. He's gotta go do his race. Like, that's a thing. Like, he's gotta go be successful. I also like the ending where he gives up the Piston Cup. Like, he doesn't actually win the Piston Cup. I think it's
the ending was great.
I think in the sports movies you always have like those, the team has to win because something bad will happen if they don't, so then they're forced to win, which completely removes all stakes in any sports movie ever, which is why I'm not a big sports movie fan. But I'm glad that he still was successful even after not winning, but then showing how much he's changed. So I do have a lot of positive things to say about the movie, other than the world building, other than the fact that it's a Cars movie, so the middle of the movie always drags.
Yep.
I like most of the Radiator Springs characters are pretty useless in my opinion, except for like obviously the main ones. Like if I told you name all of the Radiator Springs characters, all of the ones you named are the important ones, and all of the ones you can't name are the very obvious. Like, oops.
I don't remember the names of all of them. But also one of my favorite scenes is at the end of the racing pit crew.
Pit stop.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, he actually meets the Ferrari, which is great.
Oh.
And all of the mustaches dropping off.
Yes.
Oh, so good. So the movie right now is my nephew's favorite movie. So I watched it a couple times, unfortunately.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
show him a much better movie, Cars 2.
No.
He's already seen 2 and 3. He prefers Cars 1. He prefers Cars 1.
Okay.
So, like I said, I think the growth is amazing in this movie. I think the story of it goes really well. I think that a lot of it is good as a movie, but there's also just a lot where it's kind of like, okay, we come to this place and we're expected to just immediately start falling in love with these characters. There's a lot of things where kind of it just doesn't make most of it is kind of like the, oh my gosh, he's missing, and Mac falling asleep, and it's like, is there not GPS in this world? Is there not
2006, it did exist in my remembering.
I mean, it literally has a moment where 2 people come through and they're like, oh my gosh, GPS said to go through here. Like,
that's right. So did they not?
So
did
weird.
they not?
So
know
Max
where
should
it
have
is?
known roughly where he was driving on his path from X to Y, blah, blah, blah. Either way, just things that stop it. I enjoyed Sally, I enjoyed, Flo, all the characters. I love the Doc scene.
Oh, yeah. Doc Hudson is, like, probably the standout character from the early Cars franchise, and I know he would have been in more movies if Paul Newman didn't pass away. However, this is the last Cars movie on the list. This is the last time Cars is going to get brought up. I do think they truly did do his death in real life perfectly in all 3 movies. Like, he's remembered fondly in the second movie with the nice museum in Radiator Springs, and then they further remember him even fonder by meeting Doc's mentor and going, like, to the Moonshiners. Like, I think overall, like, as a franchise, the Cars franchise did have strong footing for the Cars franchise. Like, when I go to Cars, I don't expect the emotional moments, and I do think the real life death of Paul Newman for Doc was like definitely emotional from like a real life aspect, but I do think overall they're good. They're fine. It's Cars. I don't expect much and I get a lot. Alright. Number 15, Soul. I put it at 20. Glacial put it at 15. Roy put it at 13, and Super put it at 13. Super, you go first.
It was the first time that I watched Soul, so I kind of I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I feel like, but from where I'm standing, from watching the first part of the the first like iteration of the movie, I feel like it's just fine. It's just mediocre, just solid, I guess. Just yeah,
Right?
not much more to say.
I watched that movie when I was in a low. It was the first time I watched it. I watched that movie and Encanto, like right back to
Oh
back.
my god.
Oh god.
Yeah, I got hit by like emotional truck, right? Like of familial love and these kinds of things. And I vibe with not knowing, you know, where I am, where I'm going. Am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I not happy with what I'm doing? But can I afford to keep living my current lifestyle if I do something that I do love, right? Like it's very real, and it touches on a very real topic for, I feel, a lot of people of today's.
I do agree with Roy for the majority of it. I also think there's also better movies that were on the list to me, which is why it's still in like the middle. It's ish, and I think this is something Renee might point out, because I think we talked about this a little bit in the
Yep,
past.
but I'll mention it.
I do believe the guy should have died at the end. Would have hit a bit more.
So
to be honest.
yeah.
Renee's probably gonna go fully more in depth on that. But my absolute favorite thing of the movie is because I'm a band kid, and
Okay.
yeah.
So I will say, I think the movie is ruined by the ending. Where I think something like Turning Red is saved by its ending, I think this movie's ending ruins it. You go through the whole movie, like I totally resonate with how Joe feels in life, where
No, that's his name.
where he's like kind of stuck in his dead-end job of being a music teacher, and then all he can do but his dream is to play in like a jazz band on stage, like just play his heart out. There's a lot of little things early on that I don't like. I don't like that he's upset to get a full-time job. This would almost make me happy, because that means I can now afford to do my hobbies. Jazz band happens at night. Like, most concerts happen at night. Most band practices take place after working in school days. So I really did not understand why, well, he can't do both. But you kinda can. As somebody who's working, streaming, playing games, taking care of a dog, and living life all in 24 hours every single day, it's manageable. It's just how you manage it. So I kind of wish they focused more on that aspect instead of he's just upset that he just got a full-time job. I'd be happy if I was doing something adjacent to what I liked and I got a full-time job in it. But, however, that's not what the ending is. I really think Joe should have died at the end, because he goes through this whole journey of realizing, maybe I didn't do exactly what I wanted to do in life. Maybe I didn't become the jazz musician in the band that I wanted to be, but I touched the hearts of a lot of different people and meant a lot to a lot of different people, from kids to 22, to his mom, to his family, to his aunts. Like, he meant a lot to those people, and he was able to do something successful. Hell, he even gets to participate in a jazz band. He gets to play with his idol, and he gets to participate, and what does he think once it's done? It wasn't as good as I expected. So that right off the bat tells me, okay, maybe that's also not what you're meant to do. And I think it would have been completely poetic for one of Pixar's most adult movies, in my opinion, to end with your main character choosing to give his life that he lived up so that 22 could have a shot at her own life. I think if it ended like that, and just cut out the last 5 minutes where they're like, well, we tricked Terry into thinking we actually killed you, so go live life again. And it's like, wait a second.
But those guys were so funny.
No, don't get me wrong. The Jerrys and the Terrys were awesome part of the movie, probably my favorite characters. They're hilarious, like, non-entities, and I thought that was a fantastic way to show what life is like for animated art, is just 2D lines and shapes. I love it. That was great design, nothing bad to say about the Jerrys and Terry. But I think the ending completely ruins the movie for me. Like, you build this whole thing up about the meaning of life, and how important and
42.
valuable it is, and then you throw it all away in the last 5 minutes on an in-joke of just moving the abacus one dot over so that Joe can live again, and it's just, well, we did some talking, you did some good, you wrecked the world, you wrecked how we do things here, but you know what? Man, you're a stand-up guy. Go live a life again.
No,
Like-
but Renee, you have to understand, this is a Pixar movie. We can't have the main character die in any
but
sort of capacity. That would
this
be
would
bad
have
for
been-
ratings.
This would have been
No,
the
it actually wouldn't have been.
this would have been the perfect movie to do it, because this has, when you watch it, it feels more adult than the Cars movies. It feels more adult than Brave, than like Turning Red. Like, I felt more strong emotions like from an adult perspective, that I'm stuck in a dead-end job and my life is over. Like, I totally get those feelings more as an adult than as a teenager or as a child. So I just wish they kind of leaned more into the adult audience on that. It could have opened up the dialogue of, so death isn't bad. It's just the end. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just the end. That's it. It's, like, not inherently bad. Number 14, Onward. I put it at 16. Glacial put it at 21. Super put it at 22. And this was Roy's number 1 movie. So, Roy, since this is your number 1, start us off.
The floor is yours.
All right. I am the younger brother of an older sister.
Aww.
I am the one that got into D&D first, and I'm the one that brought my sister into D&D, and she has become a fanatic because of it. I feel both of the main characters on both sides. I feel the mother, again, helicopter mother. I thought the incorporation of how the characters interact, how the growth between siblings is very healthy in a certain way.
Real.
It reminds me of it reminds me of my situation with my own sister, where me and my sister are thick as thieves forever, right? Like, we butt heads every once in a while, but the big deal is, like,
You're siblings,
you
that
are
matters.
siblings, and I know that's not for every family, but for me, it is. You will do anything for each other. You will stand up against everything, and you will, it's just good. It's so good to me because of how me and my sister watched it together as well, and we just kept looking at each other in the movie theater and being like, that's us. I'm rating my movies off of emotional attack, like how it made me emotional, and that movie was one of, I'm like, I'm not tearing up, but I'm getting emotional, and I can feel it in my voice, like how I'm getting tight in the chest. It just, for me, again, it gave these emotions. I heavily connected with it. I enjoyed the jokes, I enjoyed the magic, I enjoyed the world. Yeah, so it's not perfect, but it's perfect to me.
So I have a lot of positive things to say about this movie, too. I am the older sister to a younger brother we're 18 months apart, so we're very close in age. And I'm the one who was the complete and total nerd in the family, and my brother was the one who was trying to fit in with the kids and was actually successful at attempting to be, an extrovert, where I was not. However, I do appreciate that this is not one of those movies where the siblings just bicker and fight the whole way through. I am so glad they finally showed that siblings can, like, have, like, actual love for each other and not just, like, want to be the bully older sibling. But I do like the true love not true love, but, like, the actual, like, love that the brothers have for each other. I also really, really like the ending. How Lightwood was never Ian's dad, really. He died before he was born. But Barley was Ian's dad figure. He raised him, basically. Taught him everything, how to be an older sibling, which is fantastic, because I have both my parents in my life, and both my parents definitely raised my brother and I. But I definitely had the older sister, you protect your younger brother, my whole life. Like, we were taught that. You protect your younger siblings, even though we weren't that different apart. Like, I protected him when he was smaller than me, and now that he's 8 inches taller than me, he protects me.
I was gonna say, he never lets you live it down, right?
No, we have it on we have a door in our house, and you can pinpoint the exact year that Luke is now taller than me, because it's written right on the door where Luke just keeps growing and I just stopped.
Yep, same thing.
Yeah, my brother was protective of me. He almost punched somebody in the face for me.
Oh yeah, no, I beat people up for my brother, but I won't go into that here.
I didn't fully enjoy the movie myself, but I also think that Onward was truly the start of Chris Pratt being in everything.
Yeah, not a fan
I'll
of the
give you
voice
that.
cast, but I didn't base the movies off the voice cast.
Same.
I do think it was like well written. I don't know why. It just didn't resonate with me as much as it like resonated with Roy or even Renee. I don't know why. Then again, I'm the younger sibling by 4 years and everything, so I don't know.
Super.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those movies where if you relate to it, like heavily, then it's up there on your list. If you don't, then it's kind of like at the bottom tier. All these magical creatures kind of forgot how to use the like magical powers, and then all of a sudden they somehow magically obtain it through, specific circumstances, like how the fairies,
the
like,
magic,
attack
the
brothers,
world
and
building
then
is
just
not great
all
in
of a
this
sudden
movie. I
we
will
got
admit
it,
that.
but,
It's definitely
yeah.
the type of movie that's not for everybody. And that's pretty much like how a lot of the movies on this list don't seem to be for everybody. Like, I think that was I think that's kind of enjoyable when Pixar does do that to kind of close this out. Like, I think that the reason that Elemental works for some people, not for others, Turning Red works for some people, not others, Brave, like, all of these movies are kind of not... I'm kind of glad that they had a trend of doing movies not necessarily meant for, like, a general audience. And I think definitely where Frozen succeeds in having the sisterhood bond, I think this one succeeds in having a brother bond. And even though I am not a brother to a brother, I'm a sister to a brother, I do think Roy and I relate just because in a similar way of both being the older sibling on one end and the younger sibling on the other. Just like seeing yourself in this character makes you instantly connect with them more. Inherently. That's just been it's just inherently you connect to a character that you see yourself in. So I think that's kind of what boils down. Like the relationship in this movie are just really good to me. Number 13, Luca. I put it at 11. Glacial put it at 20. Roy put it at 7. And Super put it at 14. Glacial?
It wasn't memorable to me. I enjoyed it. It was also overhated by people. And like, I just thought there's like just the rest of the movies were better in my opinion. But also, Pixar honestly did a really good job with movies. Like that's what I really noticed.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find like once you get past all of like the bottom tier Pixar movies, like
the
the
true
rest of the
bottom
list
tier.
is like the middle of the pack is still an above average movie.
even the
Yeah.
lower middle is still good
Yeah.
movies. And so I basically sort of just ranked it on how memorable it is over there, and Luca wasn't that memorable to me. It has its very good points. It also has some of the bland points to me. But yeah.
I will say
pretty
personally
much
that initially, before I even started watching all the movies again, I ranked them based on just memory alone, because I have seen all of the movies at least once before starting to watch. So I just kind of ranked them, and Luca was in your position at 20. So watching it again, it moved up 9 places for me, which is a lot. Especially in any movie where most of the movies are just good.
That is a lot, my god.
So I think what I really related to the movie a lot is that there really just wasn't a lot of things I didn't like. The story is smaller, yes. This isn't like compared to like your big grand adventure to another world. I mean, it kind of is, but on a smaller scale. So when I kind of go into the movie knowing that this isn't going to be some like huge grand adventure where the world is ending if they don't like succeed and find this task and bring the ring to Mordor, yada 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 yada. Like, when I go in knowing that it's just gonna be this small story about these kids experiencing a whole new world for the first time, like, I just appreciate it more, I think. Like, the only bad things I could say in the movie is, like, you have the third act breakup with Alberto and Luca, which always bothers me. And I even thought the liar reveal plot was better done here, because if they do reveal who they are, they die. Like, it makes sense for them to lie here in comparison to Flick, where he's just gonna get made fun of again, which he's been going through his whole life, so why change now?
Yeah, I agree.
But I think I didn't even think the liar reveal plot was that bad here. I do like that Luca is kind of thrust into the world, and he doesn't make the decision himself first. But then, after going back and realizing that, oh my god, I didn't die upon entering, it's not as bad as I've been told my entire life, then he makes the plunge himself. Like, he had to he had to quite literally take his toes out of the water before he realized, oh, this isn't bad. There's actually, like, a whole other world here. The villain
and
is...
get thrown out.
Yeah,
He got
like,
thrown
the
out
villain
of
is
his
funny. Like, the villain is really funny in this movie. I don't know, he just made me
Yeah,
laugh a little.
the blanket, and then
Yeah,
when he's
yeah,
tossed into
his
the
little
freaking fountain.
sweater. Yeah, no, like I
He's just
think
like a big nerd, honestly.
I like how, yeah, I like how he's like the ugliest character in the movie, and everybody's like afraid of him, and he's just this skinny twig Italian kid that I'd punch in the throat if he walked up to
Yeah,
me.
it's so anticlimactic.
I just love, but this is yet another message where instead of being like, you can't do, they tell you like the whole movie, you can't do this, but then he just does. Like, I just like that. Like, I do like a feel-good movie now and then. Like, if I want to go and be told in real life, no, Renee, you can't go fly, it's like, what? But, like,
And then the grandmother also at the end.
yeah, I love
Well,
that the grandmother is just
come on
completely
the
supportive
weekends.
the entire time.
Oh, who knew the grandmother was up there the whole time? Come on.
I love it.
Her face the entire movie, so good.
I still, every time I rewatch the movie, I try to see if I could find her, like, in the crowd in the movie, like, as Luke is going through life. And I think I've only spotted her, like, once or twice, but she's absolutely in the crowd. You just don't notice.
Is she like an Easter egg?
Yeah, it's like she's...
something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and, like, flip through it again, but I swear to God, like, you'll see her in some scenes. Like, I know
Oh,
they
there's probably a compilation of just the grandmother
Yeah,
scenes.
there has to be.
Okay.
I didn't fully notice it any, but I swear there's gotta be at least a couple scenes where you could stick her in her human form. Just watching over
I'm sorry,
Luca.
I just got so
I
sad.
watched the movie for the first time, so I didn't see anything. Same
Yeah,
Well,
it was-
sure. That's definitely something that you'd pick up on a second rewatch.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody else had
don't-
anything else to say about it.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was
feel-
great. Getting out of comfort zone. I thought, I came into a lot of these later movies being like, it's my time with Pixar's done. I don't really need to watch these movies anymore. They're not meant for me.
And then your favorite movie is one that came out in 2020.
That's neither here nor there. But the dad, oh my gosh, I love that father.
Oh, Julia's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's
He was a great
character development, and then you learn about Alberto's father.
I was so
And
mad.
you're like,
It's like, I'm gonna meet Alberto's dad and punch him. How dare you leave this poor boy alone for years to fend off thinking that there's fish that live in the sky. I'm surprised the poor kid hasn't died yet.
The characters are just really well done, I feel.
Yeah.
The ending was emotional. That was good.
Number 12, Wall-E. I put it at 22. Glacial put it at 17. Roy put it at 9. And Super put it at 1. So, Super, this was your favorite movie.
That is actually insane that the average is 12. I am just shocked. I am absolutely just shocked. No, I'm actually curious to see why you guys rated so poorly.
It's your
Can
number
you guys start
one.
with that?
You're number 1, so you start the floor off with some positive, and then I'll break down everything you have to... No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, Wall-E is just everything good and everything that you love about a movie. Like the first act, like literally, the first act was just beautiful with like basically zero words, just communicating just the love of like Eve and Wall-E, and just like the entire first act was just phenomenal, and it was just a fun space adventure, an amazing environmental message. Just like the world building was really awesome, and like this big spaceship and such with all different kinds of things. The villain was also good, how he basically tased Wall-E. That was very emotional. How he has basically every control of the ships and makes him like a very good threat to the protagonist, and the way they like overcome like obstacles and stuff, and then the way that Eve and Wall-E just, you know, fall in love, and it's just, oh my god, it's just so good. And like the captain is just awesome, and just his like character development about realizing how he has to like save Earth, and why Earth is like worth saving, and how it's like important, and like basically doing nothing is just not right and doing the right thing about going back to Earth and saving the planet and like, you know, and then that just environmental message just really brings home. Like the entire movie is just so phenomenal. It's just beautiful.
So
It's just
I'll tell you
absolutely
why
beautiful
I
at Cinema.
don't like this movie very much. And it kind of
Okay,
delves
so
into
let's
two
go back to
major
that.
things. I am not a fan of love story movies. Because, again, they either end one of two ways. They either get together in the end, or they don't. So for me, it immediately takes all stakes out of the movie when I know it's based on love. That being said, I do truly think the first half of the movie, with almost no dialogue and just Wally and Eve hanging out together and falling in love, is perfect. That's beautiful. If the
Yes.
whole movie was that, I probably would have put it a lot higher. However, once we board the Axiom, you totally lose me. I think Otto is boring as shit. He's defeated easily. And while I think that Wally gets the absolute crap kicked out of him throughout the entire movie with tasers, being crushed, thrown down a garbage chute, all of that is really hard to watch and really well done. However, Otto as a character is just an AI. He's boring. If you want a more if I want a more interesting AI based character, I'll go watch Terminator. At
No, but
least
that's the entire point of Otto. Sorry to interrupt, but that's the entire point of Otto. Otto is like programmed because programmed
I
to like
just
not
wish he
follow
was like
orders.
I just
because
wish he
of
was
the
either not in
humans
the
that
movie. I just wish he was either not in the movie or they like kind of changed who the villain was, because it just being an AI from the 1970s that didn't know that just wanted to keep humanity safe. It's just boring to me personally, honestly. Like he just takes me out of the. It's just a boring character to me, honestly. I like all of the characters. I don't have anything wrong with any of the characters, but I do feel like Wall-E is two different movies stitched together in the middle, and I kind of wish it blended together. The environmental message is nice, but I do think it was done better in movies like Princess Mononoke or even Fern Gully to an extent. I think the villain is better in both of those movies as well.
We had this discussion before, I'm pretty sure, because I remember it pretty vividly, purely because the next day I had English and we were talking about like villains, and and then the fucking Otto. I put that down when I wrote it down, and then my teacher got so confused on who that was, and I'm like, it's that little AI thing at the end of Wall-E.
I almost wish. I think the movie would have been better if they kind of did the villain in the same way that, like, other movies did, where not necessarily humanity is the villain, but the humans are almost completely. Like, they kind of start laying the groundwork by, like, the humans are completely unaware about what happened on planet Earth, because it was their ancestors that wrecked the planet, and this is, like, 700 years in the future, so they've just been born and raised on this ship, and that's all they've ever known. So, I do kind of wish they incorporated that idea more, and that as more people saw that what their ancestors did to the Earth, it created a dilemma of, well, should we go back and fix the mistake our ancestors made, or is that really not our problem if we're able to live on the ship comfortably for the rest of time? But in the same light, we don't necessarily have much of a life on the Axiom because we're essentially bottle-fed adult man babies. Which is honestly a really weird visual for me. I totally understand the message, and I get what they're going for, but I still don't like it. It's not because it's a bad message, or it's poorly done, it just rubs me the wrong way.
My little note that I have for Wall-E is good movie, but almost feels like it should be two movies. The humans didn't really need to be in it. It would have worked just as well if it was just the robots, honestly.
If we never really had any dialogue and it was a movie about just Wally and Eve falling in love and going on this adventure, I think it would have been really interesting if they didn't understand the humans. Like, the humans, like, talk nonsense. Like, just like, you know, like the trumpet sounds from the Peanuts. If they just did that the entire movie, and it was just Wally and Eve trying to navigate this world that doesn't really understand what they were for or what they truly are, I think it would have been a much more interesting movie, because then the environmental message, you'd be learning it as they're learning it. Because, to be fair, Wally and Eve don't necessarily care about the environment of the world, because Wally's just been doing what he's always been doing for 700 years. So it's kind of interesting to have an environmental movie focus on a character that's, for the last 700 years, has been trying to clean up the Earth without really knowing that's what he's doing. But again, like, overall, I know I'm in the very tiny group that doesn't actually really enjoy this movie, there's a lot of good in the movie. It's just not for me. That's really what it boils down to. It's just not for me. It's definitely for a lot of people, and I'm just not one of.
A big thing about WALL-E that like, especially we're talking about we're trying not to like look at animation, but that sound piece, it's 40 minutes. The movie is an hour and 40 minutes. Almost half of the movie goes by without a single talking character.
Yeah.
Like,
And
vocally
then they just start talking.
speaking.
Other than, like, the TV singing, which I'm totally fine with, like,
Yeah.
that's fine, because that's, like, an audio, like, that's a different audio cue than humans talking.
But everything else is visual, like body language, which
Your
just
villain
came
isn't
across
introduced
really
into the
well.
movie until over an hour in. Like, I hate when movies do that. Number 11, Monsters, Inc. I had it at 10, Glacial had it at 9, Roy had it at 22, and Super had it at 2. Roy?
All right. It is not a bad movie by any means whatsoever. My problem is I could not find as much emotional connection to it as I had it. So a lot of Monsters Inc. for me, especially when I was young, scared the living shit out of me, right?
Are you
like,
afraid of Randall too?
Oh, I was not afraid of Randall. I was afraid of anything coming out of
Aw.
that closet. Whether that was Mike Wazowski, whether it was, the dark, anything.
So it's relatable
Anything.
to you.
I too
my
have
parents-
nightmares of Billy Crystal walking out of my closet.
I need you to understand. My parents would go and like put stuff in my closet, and then they'd accidentally leave the light on, or they might like leave the door open, and so I would just see the door open
Were
or
you
like
afraid of
on
the
at
dark
like
as a
5
kid?
a.m. Oh, super! I was
Aw.
terribly afraid of the dark,
Yeah, me too.
and
to
so
an
like
extent.
this movie scared the crap out of me, especially with the scenes where Sully has to be scary, right? Like those things scared me as a kid. I think that's great. The movie did a great job, right? But for me, it made it so that I'm not exactly emotionally attached to the movie as I am other pieces. Again, it's well done. But for me, the main story, there's like 2 real plot points, right? Like it's Sully and Mike's friendship, and then it's Sully's relationship with Boo. And those are the 2 key plot points. I think the movie does good enough with it. But again, I'm not as attached to it as the other movies. That's why it's so low personally.
That's fair. I do have to say, the more I learn about like the behind the scenes, which I didn't like rank the movie on specifically because of that, the more the movie is just endearing to me. The fact that they tried to write lines for Boo initially, but she was too young to like really read, so they just followed her
Yeah.
around with a microphone and just recorded what she said and just used that as the dialogue in the end. Like, that's just really cute to me, which meant that this 3-year-old child, who is only like 8 months older than I am, by the way, so if Boo was alive now, she'd be my age, just a little bit older. Like, the fact that she learned how to say Mike Wazowski at 3 years old is pretty impressive, but for the movie itself, I just think that the relationship between Boo and Sully is just so cute. I cry every time, like 100%, like when they have to say goodbye. 100% will make me cry. Obviously they got the third act breakup in the middle that I don't really like, but it's not like one of the worst ones. It's fine. Like, Mike has real feelings for feeling upset, like he's feeling replaced by a child that they're supposed to be afraid of. I get that. Though, I do kind of hate that they lean into the whole kids are toxic for the entire movie when, Boo touches Sully's tail at their first meeting and he doesn't, like, immediately die, so, like, once the fear wears off, that should kind of, like, clue you into maybe you were wrong on that aspect, but it doesn't really impact the movie too much for me. I think the villain is really good in this movie. Villains,
Mhm.
plural. I think Randall...
Villains,
Yeah.
yes, I was
I-
about to say.
I think Randall is a fantastic villain in just that he's just this, like, snarky, like, as you learn later,
Okay.
ex-friend that is still stuck in the past and just wants to destroy Sully and just make himself, like, powerful. Like, he just wants first place. I just think that's so funny. I also think
But
it's
we don't
really
even know
funny
he's
that
a
he
friend.
ends up in Florida. So, Glacial, let me know when you see Randall.
No. He went to a Florida house where they said, another gator got in the
Another
house,
gator
mama.
got him!
All right, hand me the shotgun.
No, a shovel. They wouldn't have...
Close enough.
That was Glacial gonna see Randall.
Oh.
Randall is just so camouflaged. It's
No,
impossible.
no, you want to know what it would be? Probably just a
Oh, it's another alligator. Oh well. Call the Gator Boys, I guess.
well. I mean, It seems like those are the type of Florida people that would probably try to kill it and then be proud of it and have it up on a wall.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Also, Waterdeuse is a good villain. I think it's kind of interesting that you could tell he was kind of thrust into villainy.
Monsters Inc. was part of the time period, which it still does sometimes, but it's very rare nowadays,
The movie bloopers.
to have bloopers animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really impressive thing I
I
noticed.
remember
after the fact.
that.
I love that. I
And
get
it's
why they
a
stopped, but I
compilation.
wish they did. But I also think that Mike and Sully's friendship is like really strong throughout the movie. Like, even though they have the small third act breakup, it's kind of quick, and honestly, it doesn't take me out of the movie as much as some of the other third act breakups in this list that I've brought up do. And I think
I like how they sorry to interrupt. I like how they started off as friends instead of like trying to like find each other as like
yeah,
most
I'm
movies
glad they
would
saved
ever
that for the
create.
prequel movie. And so I'm glad in the sequel it's like you could immediately tell their bond like right off the bat. Also,
Yeah,
a
their
lot of the
chemistry.
recurring gags in this movie still make me laugh. Like how Mike's face is always covered regardless of what media
Yeah,
is
oh
put
my
in.
Yeah,
God.
that's
Like,
funny.
I
That was hilarious.
absolutely love that. That's so funny. But then to make it even funnier, he doesn't care. Like
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm on the cover of a magazine.
I'm in the
very-
commercial.
I'm in the commercial. Hey mom, did you see me in the commercial? Yeah, it was great.
No,
You
it
see
wasn't
that-
his mom. It was Sully's mom.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah. You see that one little green pixel right there in the TV?
That's me.
That's
it's like
me.
it's like
right
the
there.
it's like SpongeBob
Cinema.
would do that gag later on in the Krusty Krab video where it's like, there I am. But that is interesting to like. I guess I never actually. So it's interesting to see that like you were actually scared of the movie growing up. I guess when I watched the movie as a kid, it didn't really scare me. It was one of those movies that wasn't. This will happen again later on. That I didn't really totally fall in love with until I was older. So I never really had a strong attachment to it when I was younger, because I didn't really get the whole, like, sadness of losing such a close friend of a whole decade and many, many years, because I hadn't lived that long yet. Or the thought of losing a friend and having to say goodbye, when it's like, wait, but they're going on to live a happy life. And you see them again at the end. So I think this is another one of those movies that probably resonates with you more as you get older. Number 10. Inside Out 2. I put it at 12, Glacial put it at 11, Roy put it at 14, and Super put it at 5. Super?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really good. I feel like Anxiety's, character development is really, laid out, and realizing that her good intentions was doing
I
more
like
harm
that
to
she's
Riley
not the
than-
villain. I like how she's
Yeah.
more of an antagonist and not the villain.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that whole segment with her is just very, very strong and appealing. I also like how Inside Out 2 didn't repeat with Inside Out, where, you know, the characters are taken out of headquarters and have to get back and stuff. I feel like Inside Out 2 really, like, mixed it up and
But they
have,
did
like,
do
a different
that.
purpose.
That's
Yeah,
exactly...
they literally
They literally
pushed
did
everyone
that.
out.
Everybody got bottled up and taken out of headquarters and sent to the vault, and then they had to journey
No,
all
but
the...
they had like a different purpose. They had a different purpose of like, you know, saving Riley through like the whatchamacallit, like the core memory and stuff like that. And I feel like well, not the core memory, like her
the
beliefs.
sense of
And-
self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really is like a much more meaningful like journey to like really like save and protect Riley rather than just, you know, going back to headquarters to like moderate what's happening.
So, what's actually interesting is that what you just said you liked about the movie is actually what I didn't like about the movie. I do think there's too much in the movie that is exactly like beat for beat like the first. I think all of the emotion, like I think Joy as a character goes through a similar arc. While she does appreciate the value of sadness and isn't trying to not appreciate the value of anxiety, I do feel like some of the stuff she does, like just wanting to be the front and center emotion, is the exact same arc that she went through in the first movie. Like,
Yeah.
even in the beginning, she's more than willing to have the other 4 emotions, like, enjoy, like, go through the hockey game with Riley and go through all the emotions of playing in a high-stakes hockey game. But then as soon as anxiety, like, wants to do something that puts into the front, she's, like, all of a sudden, again, like, wait a second, I'm the lead emotion here. Why are we doing something that I don't immediately agree with? So I think that's the same. And then I think all of the emotions being bottled up, locked in the vault, kicked out, having to escape, and then having to navigate the maze of Riley's mind to find the sense of self and
Yeah.
get all the way back is exactly the same as the first.
Yes.
Because they get all the way to the end. In the whole movie is the journey to one end of the journey from the back. And then the rest of the climax is the quick, very fast journey all the way back from one end to the other. And I will
No, but
say
I feel like the pacing is just different in
the
that
pacing is
regard,
definitely
so
different
it
in the movie,
doesn't-
but I think a lot of the story beats, like the bear story beats, are exactly the same to me. I also
I mean,
think
sure, but I feel like it's just different in a lot of capacities.
I think Anxiety
so-
also goes through a similar arc that Joy did in the first one, where Anxiety wants to control everything that Riley does, similar to Joy in the first movie, and then also learns, the same as Joy, that you don't control Riley. You can't change who she is. Like, she has to go through these emotions, she has to go through life, and you just kind of have to be her guide or her lending hand, rather than a forceful hand forcing her one way or the other. However, I do have a lot of positive things about the movie too. I think Riley's panic attack was so
Yes.
real,
Mm.
absolutely
Yeah, the
insane.
panic attack
I
as
had
well, yeah.
I had my first panic attack at 20 years old at a sleazy bar in the middle of Maryland at midnight, surrounded by my friends, thankfully. But it was exactly what Riley went through. You don't know what's going on until after you kind of reground yourself in reality. And I'm truly
Yeah.
thankful that I had my friends there to be like, holy shit, like, Renee, come with me right now. Like, come with me right now. We're leaving. Let's go. Like, they knew exactly what to do. But, so the panic attack was real, and I cry every time I watch it because it's absolutely a real emotion. So I think that is phenomenal, and I'm glad they put in a scene like that so kids can talk with their parents, or teenagers can talk with their parents, like, I had one of these. This is what it looked like for me. Like, this is something I'm having to struggle with, and something I would like help with, or something. Like, this is something I'm having to manage. I also think that, like I said, Anxiety not being the villain is fantastic. I'm glad that they didn't make her a villain, though I do think she crosses the line a couple of times. Too close from antagonist, like, straight up into villainy. I also think the 1984 scene is fantastic, and a good way. And I think the movie does the antagonist and the protagonist well with Joy and Anxiety, because if you noticed, once Joy and the other emotions leave headquarters, like they're captured, they don't meet back up with Anxiety until the climax. They're just gone. Like you have to create this dynamic between your protagonist and your antagonist without them, like, really being in the same room together.
But that's where sadness
Yeah.
also comes in, because
This is where sadness
was
comes in.
connected.
I do think that sadness was shafted a little bit in comparison to the other four main emotions, because she's just stuck being the mole in headquarters, but I think they utilized her fine. I also think most of the new emotions, bar Anxiety and maybe embarrassment, were completely useless and totally not needed.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Like,
even
what is
remember
on? Like, I know
Envy.
what Ennui is. Why was
Yeah,
she?
Ennui is the worst out of the entire
Why was
roster. I
she
mean, you
in
can
the
make the
movie?
argument about the other
Like,
two, but
like, what? She
Ennui was
doesn't do
just
anything
not
in the
there.
movie. Envy doesn't really do anything in the movie. She's just Joy's, like, yes man, or not Joy. Anxiety's yes man. Like, I didn't really understand their purpose, honestly.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree with that.
For
But
me-
what you said about the panic attack was really good. I was
Yeah.
gonna get to that when you first
I was
said
gonna
that I should say.
mention that.
Glacial, Roy, anything else to say?
This is something that to me I believe goes for both of the Inside Outs. I think it is both of them are good examples. Like, even though yes, Anxiety does, like, is technically an antagonist and is the antagonist and is dealing with them and does breach the villainy for some of the things she does. But in reality, neither of the movies have a true villain.
Yes.
And I think it's a very good example that you don't need a villain to have a good movie.
Some people
That's-
like to say Joy is the villain, and I'm like, no. Go watch
I-
it.
And
Go
I
watch
see
a
what
mo-
they're getting
go
at.
wa- Go watch.
People who say that are so uncultured. Like,
So-
that
Well, the
is
thing
just
is, I do
ridiculous.
see what they're getting at.
I see what they're
because
getting
she
at,
tries
but
to control everything, but I also
but
think
that's
that she has her own issues. Every single one of those characters have their own issues.
we'll get more into that when Inside Out 1 comes out. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I never really agreed with that sentiment, and I don't agree
Okay.
with people saying
No,
Anxiety's
it's
the
just
villain
not
here. They're
true.
antagonists.
No.
She's
Yeah.
she's Anxiety's the
gonna-
antagonist.
There's a lot of confusion between a protagonist-antagonist and a hero-villain relationship.
Yeah, Light is the protagonist of Death Note. He's definitely a good guy.
Yeah. I think a lot of the ways that they like have the situations and scenarios play out is very real. I get secondhand embarrassment super hard, and so many moments in this movie I just cringed and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, it's too real. It hurts.
I've
Yeah.
never personally been diagnosed with anxiety or anything like that, but I could
No.
totally see like wanting to I could totally see the quick change and wanting to change
Yeah.
who you are and abandon all your old friends to try to
Mhm.
make new friends and be popular. That was never really something that like appeared to me personally, but I could definitely see people do that, so I don't necessarily fault Riley for doing that, especially since she's 13 and it's the perfect age to start doing that. But
With also that going into like middle school.
yeah,
it's
but I
kind of, like,
also
trying to
am
find
glad
yourself.
that they make up in the end, and I'm glad that the Firehawks weren't bullies. They were just older kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad
Yeah.
that they were just cool older kids. They weren't like, wow, look at this tiny pre-tween wanting to hang out with us. So lame, right, guys? Let's just make her life a living hell while she's going through camp here. Like, they're really just open and supportive and wanting to hang out with her. Number 9, Finding Nemo. I had it at 9, Glacial had it at 2, Roy had it at 16, and Super had it at 10. Roy?
I think Finding Nemo is good. I personally don't have any real gripes with this movie. My biggest thing here is, again, that emotional connection. It just isn't as strong as the other movies. Otherwise, I love the father-son tale. I love the adventure. I
Tail,
constantly
as
court
in
it.
fish
Mhm.
tail. Sorry.
Do we
Um,
do not talk about other movies that have fish in them. There are far too many that are not. This one was a really good fish movie.
I like how accurate it is. I've had, like I mentioned earlier in Finding Dory, I have had a saltwater fish tank, and I've actually owned clownfish. They're very interesting creatures when you actually own them and research how to correctly care for them. And I have to admit, in terms of that, the movie does not necessarily get a lot right, but they probably got a lot right for 2003. So I'll give them props on that. I just really enjoy, like, just all of the scenery in this movie. I think even since it's 2003, it's gorgeous. Like, it's so pretty. Like, the
Mhm.
water like the sun reflecting on the water, all the creatures. Every single side character is memorable. I remember them all. I remember Bruce. I remember
Fine.
Mr. Ray.
Fish are friends, not food.
Fine.
Yeah, like the seagulls. Like, every character in this movie is so memorable. And, like, I really thought Dory would be, when I first watched this, would be, like, annoying sidekick that, like, doesn't do anything. But, like, she's really funny. Like, I don't know. I find Dory really funny.
Yeah, it took time to warm up, but like within, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, you just kind of really enjoy her character.
I think the beginning, right at the bat, just tells you exactly why Marlon's a helicopter parent, so I can appreciate it from that angle. Like, I bet if I saw my spouse die with 99.9% of my children and the one who survived, the shell is cracked, so he is born without a working right fin. Like, I think I would be like, yeah, no, I'm protecting you with my life. We're not going anywhere. You have to live. The world is scary. I stepped outside my house and my whole life got ruined. Like, I get it.
So, the only reason why it's so high for me is because my own experiences growing up and with life, and I have more of an attachment to it now than I did as a kid. It kind of hit me so much, and it's just an overall just very good, enjoyable movie.
Very sweet. But, like, the beginning is, like, really action-packed. Like, I kind of forget how much action is actually in Finding
Mhm.
Nemo until you watch it again and you're like, oh, wow, there's actually, like, a lot of action set pieces. And it's not even the sharks. Like, yeah, you have the shark chasing, but that's not really the action-packed comparison of, like, Nemo getting taken on the boat. Like, the immense fear that you immediately feel of, like, your child's just been snatched by a guy in a white van. Like, it's immediately those vibes. I also
Yeah.
like how both these movies consistently don't necessarily make humans the bad guy. I'm not calling Darla a villain. She's like 5. Like,
There's
And-
no villain in this movie.
There's
She's
no
at
villain.
all.
traumatizing, definitely, but
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, she's traumatizing, but at the same time, it's like, what 5-year-old kid would, like, not want to shake the fish in the bed? You have to teach them not to do that, and she clearly was never taught. And I also like that the dentist didn't, like, maliciously take Nemo. He saw that he had a broken, like, kind of a deformed fin and was like, oh, I saved his life. Because he would never survive out in the wild with his fin. Number 8, Inside Out. I had this at number 1. Glacial had this at number 12. Roy had this at number 11. And Super had this at number 9. So, Inside Out was a movie that I watched, well, when it came out 10 years ago. And this is also why I'm not, like, the biggest major fan of the second one. It's good, but the first one just does it so perfectly that I really can't put into words how it makes me feel when I watch it. First of all,
10 years old.
I silently cry throughout, like, the whole movie. Like, genuinely. Like, every major scene that they want you to cry at, I cry. They play the piano music, I start crying. Bing Bong dies, I start sobbing. Joy learns that sadness actually has value in life, which the movie proves by having you cry while you're watching it. Riley running away is one of the most, like, scary scenes ever, especially because she's 11 and running away, and gets up, like, that's scary. And just the feeling of, like, your whole life has been upended just because you moved, like, pretty much across the country. I understand that feeling very greatly. Like, you feel like everything has changed all at once, and it's like, change is scary. And the biggest thing, and the last thing I'll say that really helps me connect, is I try in my life to be a positive person. I try very hard to just have a positive air around me. And growing up doing that, I kind of forgot that you're supposed to feel sad sometimes. So I would put on the facade of, like, I'll just be happy, and that'll make other people happy, when in reality I probably, when I was younger, should have expressed more emotions other than just, yeah, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm fine, everything's good. So I
Kinda
appreciate
shoved
that.
everything down there.
Yeah, so I'm very happy that the movie brought that up when Riley's like, I know you want me to be happy, but I miss my life. I miss my friends. I miss my home.
Yeah, deep down.
I'm trying to phrase.
Yeah, I feel like it's just really good. The reason why I ranked it not at number 1 is just because there are movies out there that I think really, like, hit it home. Probably better than, like, Inside Out. But with that being said, it's still, like, very, very solid. I thought Inside Out 2 was, like, better because I thought it, like, really, like, demonstrated, like, the anxiety that you go through as a teenager, and as a teenager myself, that's really relatable. So yeah, I ranked it higher. But Inside Out is still pretty solid, and yeah, it's just everything you love in a movie. So
I think Inside Out, as both 1 and 2 are great movies for parents to point at towards kids, where they can say, these are great examples of what it's like to go through these emotions. Like, because as a kid, kind of similar to M, I was happy all the time. I didn't know if I was sad or not. I was just happy. And then, like, this movie explains that, like, sometimes you aren't really happy, but you don't know it. And one day you are gonna feel sad, and that's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel more than just one thing.
I just like that the movie, like, doesn't really tell you that. You experience it by watching the movie. Like, Joy tries so hard to always be the emotion at the front, to keep Riley happy, and even once they're lost, to try to keep the situation as happy and positive as possible, which is absolutely something I would do in a situation to keep myself calm. But then, slowly as you go around, it's like, Bing Bong's upset because he's realizing slowly that Riley's kind of forgetting him even before they're dumped. And it's like, you needed to cry at that moment. Like, he needs to cry at that moment because he kind of needs to get through the feelings that, yes, you're in the golden years of as an imaginary friend, but, like, you should remember the happy times that make you sad now, but are still positive feelings towards, rather than just, let's make silly faces, let's push it down, let's think about anything else right now so you're not sad, so we can
and
get
also
a move on.
sadness related to that.
You need to be sad. People,
Yeah.
You need to be sad. That's just it's a core emotion. Like, you need to be sad just as much as you need to be
Yeah.
happy, disgusted, angry. These movies do a very good job at, like, expressing that. Number 7, Ratatouille. I had this one at 8. Glacial had this at 10. Roy had this at 3. And Super had this at 7. Roy?
Interesting that it's so low when, with previous movies, you've said you hate the idea of people being down on you can do things, such as the entire purpose of this movie. Anyone can do anything if they put their mind to it. And
Oh,
all
I think
their
this-
will.
Anyone can go.
I think this message, like, kind of takes that whole you can't do it perfectly. Like, anybody, like a great cook, someone who is good at a craft, can come from literally anywhere. However, not every living person can be good at one craft.
Correct. Linguini is a great example. I love the story of it. I love the family aspect. I love the romance of it.
The comedy just hit a lot for me. It was just a very, like, I love food. I love the scenes where they're cooking it. I love where they're going through the taste. I mean, it's got a very enjoyable meme where it's just the inspector going and eating it and then flashes back, and then that became a huge
Oh
thing
yeah.
forever.
Like, I honestly only have 2 things I don't like about the movie. Like, I have this movie at like a B-. Like, it's a very good movie. And that being said, my top 5 are perfect movies in my opinion. So this is only number 8 because the top 5 in my opinion are perfect. And I don't like the Remy Lost plot. They like really build it up early on, and then it kind of turns into nothing. Like, he's just alone in the city for a little while, and then he all of a sudden just meets up with his brother again. Like, I don't know why they made such a big deal out of it. Like, oh my god, he's lost. My whole family's gone. I'm like alone now. And then he just runs into them again. And of course, you know, third act breakup with everybody. Like, Liar revealed that Linguini wasn't actually doing any of the cooking. That's not very well handled in my opinion. I do like that they tell Ego, and I do like the scene where Ego tries Remy's food. Like, that's great.
The flashback.
Yeah, the flashback, like, a lot of the movie is awesome. Like, the comedy is on point. I love how Chef Skinner is, like, slowly going insane because he keeps seeing Remy. Like, that's how Toy Story 4 should have been. Like, what the hell was that? It's like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's there. Like, that's how it should have been. But no, like, the movie's fantastic. I don't really have a whole ton bad to say about it. I really do genuinely enjoy it. It's a
Yeah.
vibey movie.
Yeah, the
I'm
one
the same
bad
way.
thing I would say about the movie, it's just Remy as a character. Like, Remy, if you really, like, break it down, he's kind of like a jerk. Like, he's a
Oh yeah. He's totally narcissistic.
Yeah.
Relation.
I only have it. I have it 10 because, like, literally, the top 10 are so hard to pick.
Yeah, like, we're definitely getting into the high A and the S tier movies here.
Yeah.
Like, everything else here, you could definitely make an argument for, like, from Finding Nemo to the remaining ones that we have not listed yet.
Yes.
If you told me they were your favorite movie, I'd be like, yeah, I totally get it. Even the ones that, like, were later down, because I know Roy and Super's number 1 were lower down the line than probably they expected. But even those two, like, if they're your favorite movie, I get it.
Yeah.
Other than, like, maybe the bottom 3, if you told me this is my favorite Pixar movie, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. It's really good.
Yeah. But it's also something that amazes me with Ratatouille is the impact that it had unintentionally. Because I know of people, like, online that literally, that it inspired them to cook, and it honestly was also a very good movie.
Number 6, Up. I had this at 7, Glacial had this at 4, Roy had this at 2, and Super had this at 15. Super?
Yeah, so Up basically peaks at, like, the beginning of the movie with, like, the first, like, 10 or 15 minutes. It was cinema, it was absolutely gorgeous. And then you get to the rest of the movie, and it's just, like, mediocre. You know, it's fine. Like, you know, the quest that they're doing is, like, pretty good. The villain is, you know, also good, but not pretty great.
I mean, it's the
And,
only Disney villain that like pulls out a shotgun on our heroes.
I mean, he
Yeah.
That's something.
definitely. There were a couple
I
minutes.
do
of it.
have to say, rest in peace, Ed Asner.
Yeah. I will say though, a funny story. So I watched this movie in theaters in 2009. I was 12. And when this came out, and the first 5 minutes play, and you watch this beautiful story of Carl and Ellie, at 12, I didn't cry. And I thought, like, well, they lived such a happy life together. Like, why is this so sad? Like, they were happy. Like that's what life is. And then now, as an adult, every time I watch that, I just start crying. So I'm like, oh my god, they're old. It's sad. They didn't get
And
to
the
do everything
paint.
they wanted together. But I don't think that I think that Ellie's presence as a character, even though she doesn't have really any, even though she only is really in the beginning, I think she's felt throughout the entire movie. Because everything
Oh,
Carl does
definitely.
is influenced by his love for her. Like, his whole journey and his whole reason to not wanting to go into the nursing home is because he still wants to take that adventure. The whole movie is very big adventure. And I will say, as a golden retriever owner, Doug is 10 out of 10, exactly how they are. Like, just the doofiest, like, lovable dogs ever. We love
I
Doug.
had 2 golden retrievers, and I
Yeah.
felt what he was saying.
I felt it. Like, that's exactly how they are. Nailed it. The doofy, lovable, like smiley-faced animals.
Cool.
Yes.
Sorry, we had this at the exact same time.
Great minds think alike.
But like I do think like I was saying, I do think Ellie's presence is felt throughout the whole movie. Because even towards the end, like when there is a third act breakup which does kind of take it away from me, but at the same time I think that needed to happen for Carl to kind of take a step back and realize like what is he really doing this for at this point, like you said? Like, what is the point of taking this whole journey to move this old house to this falls? And when you get to look at the book that they have not really shown, all you see in the 5 minutes is it's been shelved away. Like, oh, they kind of grew up and got their responsibilities in order. Like, we can't just go off gallivanting and exploring the world. We're adults. We have to pay bills and taxes and whatnot. But you go and you just see that this scrapbook is just filled with their love and their life. And then for it to end with Ellie's like final words to Carl that that he never really saw is thanks for the adventure. Now go have another one. Like for that to be the like for that to be the power that he needs to kind of, you know, kick the third act into gear and save Russell is great. Like I just really respect the movie for that. It's just like a wonderful movie. It's also one of Pixar's most depressing movies ever. Like
Yes.
holy crap. Like, the movie's so sad. I cry when he lets go of the house. Like, I was so sad. I'm like, no, don't let go of the house. But then it ends up...
Don't let go of the memories.
Don't let go of Ellie. But
Don't let go of your wife, please.
It was worth it to say.
But it ends up right where it needs to be. Ellie's resting place is
Yeah,
exactly
But
where
he
it
didn't
needs to
know
be.
that it was.
Well, he didn't know that, but I'm glad that we, the viewer, know that, because I'd feel so empty inside.
Yeah. But no, it's number 2 for me because of a lot of the stuff he said. Again, I based a lot of my stuff off emotion, and I mean that movie just for the first minutes of it, right? Like top 5, right? In emotional connection and just like, I think this is a lot of where Pixar hit their like hitting emotional connection in their movies, right? Like this movie, and it just.
Yeah, and the movie that immediately, because it was all of the movies with a strong emotional connection, you know, Ratatouille, Up, Cars 1.
Get that thing out of here. But
I'm scrolling up trying to find the years again.
Number 5, Coco. I had it at 6, Glacial had it at 7, Roy had it at 8, and Super had it at 6. Roy?
I really like this movie. I really like the message of it. I like all this stuff. This was also one of the movies that I watched when I was sad boy hours.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
So this was, and it was my introduction to this movie too. So like, it was very like connection to family, and I live in the South. I live
bordering Mexico, so like I have a little bit of that culture like in my life, and it's just this
They did it
beautiful
so
thing.
well. Like I can't get over how like it makes
They did it
watching
phenomenally.
feel-
watching the movie makes me want to celebrate Day of the Dead with anybody who like actually like celebrates it. Like I
Mhm.
want to be part of
Yeah.
the experience. Like it just seems like so much fun, and I mean this in like the highest regard, genuinely. Like it just seems like such a wonderful holiday, and I'm definitely somebody who looks at death as more of like the next chapter of like the final chapter, rather than just like
Yeah.
this is the saddest thing ever. Obviously, like it's sad like when it happens, but you look back on the memories, you look back on them fondly. You don't back on them sadly. I don't look at like when I think about like my dog, my grandparents, like people who have moved on in this life. I don't look back and think sadly. I look back and think like happy memories.
Yeah, it was
But-
really good. The way that they did the twist villain as well
Yeah.
was just phenomenal. I was at the first time I watched it,
I
I
will argue
was
against that.
really, I was like really convinced that like the family just hated music because of whatever. Like they just hate it. They're like strict parents or whatever, and they don't want Miguel to like pursue his dream or whatever, and all that sort of stuff. And I was like rooting for Miguel to like go and like pursue his dream and to, you know, get like a whatchamacallit, like Ernesto's approval to be a musician and go into the living world and pursue it and stuff like that. And then it did a full-on 180 and just completely shattered that entire premise, and I was in awe. I was absolutely flabbergasted to,
I
like,
do
learn
think
the
that
truth.
the,
It was just awesome.
I agree Cruz works good as a villain, but I think for a different way than you. I think Cruz works as a villain better. I don't think he's the best twist villain Pixar did. I think he's definitely the start of the downhill slope towards not good twist villain, but I think he's still at the top of the downhill. Like, he's like the last, like, decently well done one before they got really stupid. I have one negative thing about this movie, and it's a really tiny one, but it does kind of impact the story, which is why this is only number 6 for me, and it's why it's the last movie that I didn't consider perfect. I don't like Remember Me. I don't like the amount that it's played in the movie. I would have changed how they did that, and I have a reason that I would have done that. So the whole point, and that Remember Me's power, it is the last remaining thing that connects Coco to Hector. Like, this is their connection. The song was written for her. I wish we did not hear the whole song like 3 times during the movie until Miguel sings it to Coco. I wish we were kind of kept in the dark with how the song sounded up until the very end, because we hear it first when Cruz sings it, and it's like all upbeat and whimsical like a pop ballad. Then we see a flashback where it's played kind of, you know, how it's supposed to be. So we're already spoiled with how it's supposed to sound. It's supposed to be like a soft ballad of a father who misses his daughter so dearly because he has to go out and work and make music. Then we hear it again as a joke when Miguel's trying to do the talent show, and it's sung in a bunch of different ways. And then Miguel sings it as a soft ballad again for a 4th time. So even though the song is really good, it's played 4 times in the movie, and it, like, kind of takes me out of it. I just wish it was, like, bits and pieces of it, and all different genres, and then the real genre that the movie, like, the whole song front to back is what's sung when Miguel kind of breathes some life into his great-grandmother for the last time. And this is coming from somebody whose own grandmother passed away with Alzheimer's and, like, slowly forgot everybody in her life, which was really hard to see.
The movie made me cry.
Oh, yeah. I
And-
cried when, like, watching Coco's, like, final moments of, like, like, when she's lucid. Like, she had her final moments of, like, she's there. So sad. And when they, like, reveal a year later that she finally passes away, I cry. Like, they didn't even need to say anything. You just see it. Her picture's on the ofrenda now. That's how you, like, they didn't even need to say anything.
I both wish and not wish that it was real. Like, that sort of, like, possibility, like, of that other world, because, like, I would also drive myself crazy thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly,
and
it's one
I
of
know
my
we
favorite
can bring it
depictions
back.
of death. Genuinely.
Yeah.
It's like a movie that
Yeah.
has one of my favorite depictions of death.
That's what I was saying. Like the way that they did, like the way that they.
It's a movie I saw after.
And the final death.
Trying to
was just
remember.
Really, really awesome.
Yeah. I like everything about it. Like, I think they did that part phenomenally. Literally, my only thing that I don't like about the movie is I think they should have changed how Remember Me is expressed in the movie, but that's such a small, like, tiny nitpick.
Yeah.
The world building was phenomenal. Like, the
Perfect.
visuals
Like,
was just
genuinely.
amazing.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh my God, so
It's so
gorgeous.
pretty. The movie's gorgeous.
I know that as far as, like, I know that when I didn't add animation until, like, her rank, like, letting it affect her ranking, but the animation with all the little
Oh, it's
details.
beautiful.
The lights, the colors. No, yeah. Animation is probably one of Pixar's... This is probably one of Pixar's, like, prettiest movies. Number 4, Toy Story 2. I had it at 4. Glacial had it at 5. Roy had it at 6. Super had it at 12. Super?
I mean, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Toy Story 2 is, like, kind of weird, because I feel like it's both simultaneously underrated and overrated, and I don't know, it's still a really good movie. Like, I have it higher than Up, and all that sort of stuff, but I don't know, I just didn't really, I guess I didn't really, like, see how good it kind of is, and I rewatched this, like, a lot, much more than any other of my, you know, much more than like Souls or Luca or anything. But I didn't really kind of like capture how, you know, what I didn't really like understand like why it's like a top tier movie, and I couldn't really like put myself in that type of position really. So
I
I'm kinda
personally
curious to
think-
see what you guys said, but.
So, for me, the remaining 4 movies, I believe, are perfect movies. So, I'm going into, like, the remaining, like, all the ones that are left, I think, are perfect movies. Now, Toy Story 2 specifically, I think it's Toy Story 4, like, the idea, done correctly. Like, this is Woody faced with the decision of, should he really go back to Andy? Like, one child to be loved until, you know, for how long? It's a fleeting moment. It's a fleeting love up until he's too old to get played with anymore, or should he be like behind, or should he be in a museum and loved from afar forever and ever, like preserved? Like, I think that's a much better conundrum that Woody has to figure out than, should I be a lost toy or should I stay with Bonnie? And I think it's done better here because he's helping the lives of 3 toys that you get to meet and interact with, rather than just a bunch of unnamed toys that you don't ever get to see because it's a hypothetical scenario. And I think that Jessie is probably one of the best, like one of the most well-rounded Disney characters ever, and you just see her progression through the movies. And I think especially here is great. I think Stinky Pete is a funny villain. I don't think he's all that intimidating or scary, but I think Kelsey Grammer does a fantastic job voicing him, even though I didn't take voice acting into account. I think Bullseye is adorable and a great pet sidekick, and I just like that Woody's, one of the other villains in the movie is just like a collector, and as somebody who collects Pokemon cards, it was kind of funny to see that.
Yeah.
I had like Toy Story 4 and Toy Story 2 like literally like right next to each other. Like Toy Story 4 is 11 and then Toy Story 2 is 12. Like I thought they were like really similar as well. Like as you said, like they both had like basically like similar stories, and the way they go about it was also like pretty similar in that regard. So I kind of like kept them like right next to each other. I just didn't really see.
Also,
like,
When
how-
Somebody Loved Me, probably one of the best love songs Pixar, like just in general, like holy shit, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And as from the perspective of the person who's giving away from the toys, I felt bad that I had been doing that my entire life. Like once I finally watched this movie for the first time as a kid, like, am I not supposed to do that? Does that make them sad? Like, do they not want to be given away? Should I just keep them?
Renee's given trauma from a movie for her
For real. I still have all my...
I kept all my stuffed animals, and my brother kept all of his, until we left my childhood home. And my brother still has one of his.
Oh yeah, like I
Barely.
can't get rid of. There's some I can't get. There's some I have that I can't get rid of. I gave away a good chunk of them, but there's some I have that like.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. Okay.
For me, with Toy Story 2, First of all, the scene of the guy repairing Woody.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the most
Yeah,
satisfying
that was
scenes
good.
ever.
Yes.
It's just perfect. It's just so satisfying.
It belongs on Oddly Satisfying for sure.
Yes.
real. I'd watch
And-
YouTube videos of people just cleaning toys. I mean, we do that. Like, how many people watch the videos where they like clean out ears or like they clean up like dirty rugs or stuff like that? Like, it's so sad. It's
Yeah.
oddly satisfying.
Yep. Also, I love how, like, just Jesse and how Jesse's character was. Having Pete as the villain, that was honestly a good twist, and I wish other twists were like that. And
I like
this
how the
one-
biggest reveal is that he came out of the
Came
box.
out
It's
of
like,
the box.
oh my
Yeah.
god, he's been unboxed. No, the
Which
seal's
you don't
been
understand
broken. He's
until
not.
you're an adult.
He's not worth anything
Now
anymore.
dirty.
He's been unboxed.
Yeah.
I like how that.
everything Stinky Pete did in the movie just makes sense.
Because he knows he can't, Woody won't reveal
Yeah.
himself
I
to
will
us.
also say I think the movie does a phenomenal job of like keeping the humans like right at the edge, but then completely unaware of what's going on around him. Like Woody leaves Andy's house with a ripped arm. It's fixed during the movie, and then Pete rips it again in the same spot during the climax. So then Andy gets to fix it himself. Like they kept that cohesion
Continuous.
all throughout the movie so that it wouldn't
Uh-huh.
be surprised that he was fixed all of a sudden. I thought that was
Yeah,
perfect.
but then that also gets broken because Jesse and like Bullseye and like the new toys just appear. So you
Well,
know.
sure, but I mean, he even says like,
He
"Well,
kind of
new
just shrugs
toys."
it off after.
Yeah, like kids just know that kids just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
assume that you don't really just know where your toys come from. Number 3, Toy Story 1. I had it at 5. Glacial had it at 8. Roy had it at 8, and Super had it at 8. Glacial?
It's iconic. That's something that will never not be iconic. And there's so many little things in it. And like looking back, like you realize you miss a lot of jokes as a kid. Which goes for a lot of these movies in a way.
Especially the like this was Pixar's first step too. And
Yeah.
boy, what a first step.
Uh-huh.
What
I
a dangerous
don't remember the
step.
exact line, but just like, what I'm gonna say is not safe for preschoolers. What I want to say isn't safe for a preschool.
Oh, I
Or
remember
preschool
that. Oh
toys.
my god, I
There's
remember
preschool.
that. I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that.
But there's preschool toys present.
God, I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that until
Yeah.
you reminded me of it.
Also,
Um,
like
God, that's
if you wanna meet me, Woody, I'm just a couple of blocks away.
It's just honestly such a great base and just allows for the storytelling of the rest of the next two to just be good, because after that it kind of falls apart.
I tried to
Oh.
when I watched these movies, I tried to watch them individually unless they were part of a series in which I tried to
Yeah.
rank them based on like how did the original impact each of its sequels and how did the sequel impact each of the originals. And I truly believe that each Toy Story got better with each iteration. Not that until the fourth one. Not that any of the first three are bad. In fact, all of them are pretty phenomenal movies. Like I believe all three of the first Toy Stories. Like there's really nothing in the movie that takes me out of it that I don't like. Like I think Woody as a character is a very interesting character. I think like we didn't really like Super specifically didn't really like Remy being kind of selfish and narcissistic. I think Woody is Remy done correctly. Like you have a bit of a self-centered kind of narcissistic character. Like when you've been the favorite your whole life, and then all of a sudden there's the new kid, there's there's the new cool kid. You feel like taken aback, like everything that you know about your life has changed. And I think it's really funny that Andy never really like now he has two favorite toys. Like it's just kind of funny how it works in a kid's mind. It's like now I have two favorite toys instead of just one. I also like that this movie is probably the only Toy Story movie that I would argue doesn't actually really have a villain. Sid's like plays really rough with his toys, so he'd be a traumatic experience for any toy to meet, but he's not doing what he's doing maliciously. He's just one of those kids that play rough with their toys. I had kids in my neighborhood who played rough with their toys. I just happened to not be one of them.
I think he did do it maliciously. He literally blew up a toy. You
Yeah.
I
know?
know, but that's just playing rough with them. Like I don't know, but
Never
he
in
doesn't
my
he doesn't
yeah,
know
that's
that
a
did I
villain.
get dynamite to blow up a toy. Like
he didn't know that they were alive. Number 2, Toy Story 3. I had it at 2. Glacial had it at 3. Roy had it at 12. Super had it at 3. Roy?
this movie came out way after I was done playing with toys. I didn't have as much of a connection to it as I did the other two. Not to say it's a bad movie. Again, on rewatch, it actually jumped a couple positions because I had it fairly low initially. But I thought that it is in my top 10.
It is not.
I think
It is number 12.
Oh shit! It's in my top half. It's above 50%. No, but I don't know. A lot of the characters kind of just it felt weaker. Again, it's kind of that thing of like they tried to reach out and be like, "Oh, you should feel exactly the same position as Andy," but at this point, I was in college. I didn't really go out and watch Disney movies that much at that point. Like, at least at that time, right? Like, I came back, obviously, and started doing stuff like that.
When
but-
this movie came out, I was graduating 6th grade. So I was moving to middle school, which
Wait, hold on. When did this movie come out?
2010. So I don't know how
Never mind,
you
I
were
wasn't
going...
in college at all.
I was gonna say, I don't know how you're going to college, but
I was a
Roy's
genius.
going to college as a teenager, but like a young teenager.
All those movies are
I'm
about
assuming
me,
you
baby.
didn't watch it when it first released, did you?
I watched it
I-
when it first released.
So did I.
I didn't watch this movie when it first released. I think I
Okay, well
legitimately
that explains
didn't
why
watch
you
it.
watched it in college, then.
Yeah.
So I watched this movie when it released. I was graduating this 6th grade and moving into the middle school because where I live, 6th grade is your last year in elementary school, not 5th grade. So it resonated hard for me. Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2, as seen as my positions being 5 and 4 respectively, are some of my all-time favorite Pixar movies. And this was 2 just because I think it just took that to even greater heights. I think Lotso is a phenomenal villain. And if he's not the best villain, then the villain of the very last movie that I won't name yet because it's the only one left is the better villain. Like, it's a tie for me between which of these two is a better villain. I think the stakes are so high in this movie, and the fact that the movie was willing to go to quite literally the depths of hell of, yeah, let's just burn the entire main cast. Like, that was raw. And the final goodbye of Andy and Woody that you've been watching with them since 1995, or in my case, 1997. I've watched. It's perfect. It's perfect because
Beautiful.
I had my own reservation. Should I take my comfort stuffed animal to college? Should I do that? I ended up not doing it. My roommate actually did it, but you have that reservation. Like, at what point is it less? Is it like less of a comfort thing and more of like a, it's kind of time to grow up, or it's time to kind of take the next step? And I can really appreciate that they ask that question. And even if I don't like Bonnie by the 4th movie, I think it's fantastic that Andy, in the end, makes the decision to give Woody up.
Can I throw this out there?
Absolutely
Yeah.
nothing.
I wanted them to die.
Oh
I
my
wanted
god!
that to be the
What?
end. I thought it
Jesus,
was
Roy.
You are
Honestly,
absolutely
you know
not.
what? That honestly, I would rather that be the ending.
Well,
I'd
like,
rather
sure, I'd
the whole
rather them.
thing of
Well,
it.
no,
Now
because
that
then
we
we'd
know
miss
about Toy
out.
Story 4.
But then you'd miss out on the cinema ending of Andy having to say goodbye to
Yes.
all of his toys
Yes.
in their last
Yeah,
play
yeah,
together.
True, true.
How would I know that was coming up? When I was watching it, I was like, oh man, this is a great way for them to go, you know, all
They
hand
just
in hand,
die.
loving
They
each
just
other. Yeah.
They're just incinerated into ash painfully.
No, that wouldn't be.
That probably
wouldn't
would be
Anyway,
that
they're all
painful. It
just-
probably would have been instant.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Half
guess
of
That
them
so.
were
would
made out
have
of
the
like
same emotional impact, I guarantee you.
Mr.
Well,
Potato Head.
well,
might have lost
I'm
the
fully
focus.
on board with.
Oh,
I wish they
yeah.
killed off Joe Gardner and Soul. I would not be happy if all
Yeah.
of the toys died. Number 1, The Incredibles. I had it at 3. Glacial had it at 1. Roy had it at 5, and Super had it at 4. Glacial?
I want to start this. So, from my memory, The Incredibles was the first movie I ever watched. And it has vividly remained in my memory the whole entire time. And I did rewatch it for this because I wanted to. And everybody in my entire family were so happy when Incredibles 2 was like announced finally. We're like, oh my god, it's been so long.
Oof.
Unfortunately, it did not live up to the original, but I don't think it's possible to live up to the original.
No.
And even though it did set up for a sequel, it just didn't work.
It should have been done earlier. It should have been done earlier if it was earlier.
Yeah.
Fine.
And it just... It's not the perfect movie. I don't think every movie is truly
Well, no, I don't think
perfect.
any movie's perfect, but I just think these are the like my top 5.
Even if it's a
of, like-
movie I put my blood, sweat, and tears in it, I wouldn't consider it perfect.
Yeah,
I
I
probably
just
would hate
think
it.
that these are the
Um,
movies that nothing in the
yeah.
movie takes me out of the movie or is like a negative impact on the movie. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely some stuff wrong with it, but nothing like takes me out of the movie or anything.
And then just, where's my super suit? Still is an iconic line. that's
Oh
quoted.
yeah. Like I
Yeah.
find it hard whenever somebody says that to not repeat the whole scene.
Yeah.
But-
And that just shows
Even
how
right now.
strong of a movie is that holds on our generation. And on people like, even our parents probably would know it. And it's just, it's never, hopefully it's never gonna go away.
So for
Um,
me personally, this is both of my parents' favorite Pixar movie as well. When this movie came out, we watched it in theaters. I was 7. So, and I was again the older sibling, so I was right, like, and I have a younger brother, so it's like we were Violet
You
and
related
Dash.
to Violet.
We were Violet and Dash because I'm the bit of the introvert, and my brother's a bit of the extrovert. So so I definitely saw a lot of myself in this movie. I
Should've
also
dressed up on it as well.
our neighbors literally did it, so we didn't do it.
Aw, rip.
I also think that, like I said before, if you told me that Syndrome is your favorite Pixar villain over Lotso, I'd agree with you. Like, he's fantastic. I think that this
I
is
would say
Jason.
so,
I think this is
honestly.
probably Jason Lee's best movie in my opinion, and I think that Syndrome is a wonderful villain. He's
Mhm.
like, he fits the superhero campy vibe perfectly, but then he's actually threatening. Like, they don't even need to show scenes of all of these supers dying, but just watching the scene of Mr. Incredible going through the computer and seeing all of the iterations of the
His
robot
face.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And the first thing he thinks to do, once he's seen that, is to check on his wife and his best friend. Like, are they okay? Like, have they been found yet? Like, that was awesome. That immediately shows everything that you need to see about Mr. Incredible to know why he's a good person. Like, he doesn't have to say anything. I just have nothing bad. I have nothing bad to say about this movie. Like, Edna Mode, fantastic. Like, the
Edna
scene of
Mode.
Dash and Violet running through the jungle trying to defeat, like the NPCs.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
NPCs.
Fantastic.
They are, honestly.
Like, just fantastic. Like, it's just so action-packed. The music, like, them learning how to use their powers in a more defensive sense and fighting sense.
The
Yeah, the
score
music
was
was-
The
unreal.
score, it's unreal. It's perfect. What's interesting about, like, what they did with this movie, again, more of, like, just an interesting tidbit about this movie, is that how this movie works so well is that this was Pixar's first stab at making a movie where the focus is human characters. Like, they've done human characters before, but if Toy Story is
Right.
anything to go off of, it was rough. It's, like, the only part of Toy Story that does not hold up very well, in my opinion, is the human characters and the dog.
Yeah, it was mainly
It
toys
is,
that are
yeah.
better humans in the first place with those.
But I think what Incredibles does correctly is that they were hand drawn in 2D and not made to look like real people. Like nobody has a head that's like Bob Parr. He looks like an Easter Island head. Like that's the shape of his head. And nobody has a face or a body like Mrs. Incredible. Like that's just not human proportions. But both of them look like real people that fit in their world. And I think that's great.
Yes.
I love the interactions with them as like especially Bob and his work and just like you all said, quotable
yeah.
movie. Again, we're not looking at animation, but like fantastic animation. You can see the seams on the suits, everything, right? Like just
Yeah.
beautiful. But also just it is a great family dynamic movie, especially for people that are, mother, father, one son, one daughter.
Which is exactly what my family is, so we really resonated there.
Yeah. Syndrome was a great villain,
Yes.
if not one of the best that they created. Because again, he was a humanized villain where it's like, you made me into what I am. Like, and I'm like, I understand that, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I also understand Mr. Incredible's reasoning too, where it's like, go home,
Don't
you're
get-
not helping.
Yeah, like the first time Syndra or Buddy, when he's Buddy, tries to help out and get to a fight, he's got a bomb strapped to his cape. So, like,
And he doesn't
he's-
know, right?
And he doesn't even
Yeah,
know.
like on the real.
No capes. Also, that's fantastic. Thank you guys so very much
Oh,
for
no,
joining
not
in on
the
this.
limits.
If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. If you have another collection of movies you'd like us to tackle, Disney, DreamWorks, Blue Sky, Sony, Illumination, please let us know in the comments below. If we get enough interest and traction on this, maybe we'll consider coming back together and doing another one of similar style. And huge shout out to everybody who joined me tonight. Thank you to Roy, Super, and Glacial. Make sure to check them out in the description to show them some love and appreciation as well. This was a real big project that took a lot of time, but honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to do it with. I had so much fun. Thank you guys once again so much for watching. Thanks for joining, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!